Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas on opening weekend for the Houston Astros. They meet the Florida Marlins in Game 2 of this 10-game homestand. Good evening, everybody, from Minute Maid. The roof closed tonight. Winds could be strong. Bill Brown, Jim DeShays, Jeff Bagwell joining us, and he'll be on the air every Saturday night for Astros home baseball. JD, the Astros came close to their first home win last night.
Maybe that's what we need, a dose of baggy to get things turned around. The Astros with just one win so far in the early going. Got a nice effort last night from Wandy Rodriguez. Came up just a little bit short. Pitching matchup tonight features the veteran right-hander for the Marlins, Javier Vazquez, working for his fourth team in 4 years now. Been around a good long while. You look at his numbers last year with the Yankees. 8-10 as a starter, 5.56 ERA. Bud Norris really finished with the flourish in the second half of last year, especially here at home. 4-1, 2.16 ERA in his last 5 home starts in 2010.
Coming up from Minute Maid, the Astros got some good production from the quarterman on their infield last night. Chris Johnson drove in a run with a big hit. Fred Wallace had a very nice 3-hit game, including a long ball. We'll have Astros baseball against the Fish next. On Fox Sports Houston is brought to you by the Progressive Insurance Group. For a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. And by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. It's been another warm day, and winds expected to be rather strong tonight, so we have the air conditioning going. We have Jeff Bagwell joining us in the booth. We flash back to another Jeff Bagwell. Oh, in the old stadium in San Diego. We're going way back. Well, a little older now, but wiser. And we don't have stats on this, but memory serves properly. We had a good record with you in the booth Saturday nights last year. Is that correct? Or do you remember?
I think so. No, I think we played well, and then all of a sudden somebody offered me a job, and I was like, what do I do now? So the more importantly, how was the record when I was in the dugout? That's the more important thing.
Yeah, well, that was good. Now, you're here speaking to some of the players before the game. sort of an advisory role. You've talked with Mike Barnett, the new hitting coach.
Yep.
How do things work together with you and Mike?
They're great. Barney and I got a great relationship. He just loves to talk about hitting. So we've been talking about certain guys down there, talking about Wally and CJ and Hunter, and the list goes on and on. He loves baseball. He's a hard worker. I think he's going to do a great job for these guys. He really does care and is very, very positive. I was more of the obvious approach. Barney's a lot more lot more positive than I was. So I think the guy's got a better guy with Barney than me.
Well, it worked quite well for you. Now let's check the Florida Marlins starting lineup for this game. And it's brought to you by Xfinity. Chris Coughlin leads it off in center field. It's Omar Infante at second base. Logan Morrison plays left field. Mike Stanton returns to the lineup, and he's one of the young stars in Major League Baseball. The cleanup man and right fielder, followed by Gabby Sanchez at first base. Greg Dobbs at third. John Buck is the catcher. Donnie Murphy plays shortstop. Javier Vasquez the pitcher.
Bud Norris takes the hill for the second time in 2011. Last time out, his debut for this season did not go well in Philadelphia. Worked 4 innings, allowed 6 hits. He did strike out 7, walked a man, allowed 5 earned runs through 80 pitches. Kind of a bumpy spring training for Bud as well. The good news was his arm is sound. He threw the ball hard in that last outing in Philadelphia. Just struggled with his command. Defensively, it looks like this. Lee, Bourne, and Pence cover left, center, and right. Infield of Johnson and Wallace on the corners. Billy Hall at second base. Angel Sanchez had a nice night defensively last night. J.R. Tolles had a nice night all the way around. He's back behind the dish.
And warming up right now, the right-hander Bud Norris. He'll be facing Chris Coughlin as the leadoff man. Difficult start for the Astros, Jeff. 1 win, 6 losses. And 3 games in which they had the lead in the late innings, so it would be nice to get one in the win column tonight.
Yeah, I was talking to Millsy after the game, and he was kind of saying, what do you think went wrong? I said, to be honest with you, I think we just got beat. We had that big situation there in the 8th inning. That those are tough situations to be in. And, when you're 1-5 at that particular time, there's a lot more pressure on you. You tend to get a little bit bigger, try and do a little bit too much. And guy threw a good breaking ball to Hunter to get the strikeout, and we got the pop-up to Carlos. But the guys are pressing a little bit right now. They've heard how people think of them and things like that, and it's tough. And when you start out and you struggle, lose some ball games, as you said, late, it becomes a thing where sometimes you sit there and go, well, how are we going to lose tonight? And that's what they got to get away from that and just go to doing what they do, play every game as hard as they can, and let the chips fall where they may.
Things can be magnified early in the season. There have only been a few games. How do you settle in as a player and demagnify it?
Well, I don't know if fans out there saw Tony La Russa's comments about 2 games ago when he was saying, you really think Albert Pujols is not going to hit? You really think Berkman's not going to hit? You can't put too much, stuff on what's happened so far. If this happened in the middle of the year, nobody would say anything. But right now, when the season starts and the guys struggle a little bit, obviously it's magnified.
Bud Norris getting set to go to work as the Astros play home game number 2. Finale of this series will be tomorrow afternoon, a 1:05 start for Anibal Sanchez and Jay Happ. Chris Coughlin starting the year at 226 has a homer. He's driven in 2. He hit that home run last night in the 9th inning to the Landry's Crawford boxes.
Got a nice little swing. He had 2 balls to left yesterday, and that one that got out in the 9th inning. Obviously, that was a big run for them.
Here's a quality pitch from Bud Norris. Home plate umpire Darrell Cousins rings it up, and it's strike 1.
Well, that would be the easiest way to alleviate all that pressure we're talking about, is for a starting pitcher to go out there and just have a dominant performance. And Bud certainly capable with his stuff of doing that. We've seen him do it in the past. Off to a good start here. Good fastball to the outside edge for strike 1, and then that changeup. And we talked a little bit about that in the pregame. Even though Bud did not pitch particularly well last time out, he did throw some real good changeups to some of the left-handed hitters of the Phillies. He just threw Coughlin a good one there on that 0-1 pitch.
Well, if he can do that, JD, obviously that's going to expand everything for him. The high fastball, get a changeup, the 2-seamer away, get some of those ground balls so he doesn't have to work so hard, so his pitch count doesn't get so high.
Yeah, I imagine that's with his side session between these 2 starts. I imagine that's what he and Brad Arnsberg talked about. One, the arm angle, get on top, get the ball down, and even though things didn't go well, remember, good positive feedback from that changeup.
He gets a bad swing and a miss. That's a good 0-2 pitch, Baggy.
It sure is. I remember watching the game in Philly. It looked like his slider was getting a little flat, but that one had some good depth to it right there. There's not many lefties in the world that are going to hit that one.
Yeah, Arnie last year he talked about with Bud a windmill versus a helicopter. Picture the blades on a windmill rotating the way they do versus a helicopter moving laterally. And so that's what Bud needs to be more up and down with his delivery than side to side with his shoulders.
I agree. If he gets on top, he's just got electric stuff. And when he gets on the side of that slider, as you said, that's what you're going to have that spin on it. And those are the balls that get hit a pretty long way.
Omar Infante, 241, had 2 hits last night. He was out in front of that first pitch. What kind of an effect does it have on you as a hitter the first time up when you see that change up from a guy?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm sure Bud has some sort of track record against these guys, and maybe they've seen it before, but I'm sure they're going back to the bench right now and go, man, I didn't realize he had that kind of changeup. And when that happens, instead of being a 2-pitch pitcher, which he kind of was, which was fastball slider, it's something in the back of the hitter's mind right now when they all come up there and say, man, I gotta also be cognizant of the changeup.
Logan Morrison next. He had 3 hits, drove in a run last night. He's walked 8 times. Marlins are 4-3.
It's a good start for him, having 8 walks.
Yeah, I bet it is.
We saw him a little bit last year. He could swing it. He's a good-looking young hitter. They got a bunch of them. This whole group of guys are like 23 to 27 years old. Pretty talented.
They are, and as I was watching the game last night, they're not one way. They're not just straight pull hitters. As we said, we talked about the kid hitting the ball in the Crawford boxes. They seem to spread the ball around the field, and when you can do that, good things are going to come from them.
Norris catches the inside edge. That makes it 1-1.
JD, you'd think probably this inning is a big inning for Bud right here to come out after that last outing.
And just to
get through it.
To try to implement what he and Arnie worked on between starts and have some success with it. Getting the dugout feeling good. They're kind of like a fighter getting through that first round without taking one on the chin.
Top foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
We're making that long putt to save par, so you don't put that bogey on your card.
I could use a few of those. I've been putting way too many bogeys, and actually double bogeys, so I need to work on that one.
It's a great weekend in sports, isn't it, though? You get to watch a little golf after the game tomorrow.
Oh, God.
See who wins the Masters.
It doesn't get much better than watching the Masters on Sunday.
It's a tradition like no other.
Well, I remember, playing, the Open or the British Open or the Masters, whatever. We'd be at first base, and I'd go inside, and all the umpires would be like, well, who's winning? Who's winning? Who's winning? That's all they cared about.
And you've actually had a chance to play.
I have played Augusta. It's I was telling JD earlier, you can't even imagine how beautiful it is. Whatever you see on TV, magnified by 100.
Yeah, you think of the challenges in the different sports. The pressure of people lining fairways on both sides and executing maybe a little chip shot on the final hole. That is unbelievable.
I'd chili dip the heck out of that. I know that.
Such a finesse sport when it comes down to it.
Good change up there, Jimmy.
Yeah.
He had good movement on that one.
Strike one was a changeup that he threw. Probably not the pitch he wanted to throw. It kind of stayed in the zone and didn't have much movement. But obviously, it's part of the game plan now because he's thrown 3 or 4 of them already.
In the air, and the shortstop, Angel Sanchez out, calling in front of Carlos Lee for a 1-2-3 first for Bud Norris. The Astros up against Javier Vazquez next. Florida went out in order. Now here's the Houston lineup brought to you by Xfinity. Showing you Michael Bourne leading it off in center field. Angel Sanchez at shortstop. Hunter Pence in right field. Carlos Lee in left. Brad Wallace at first base. Chris Johnson at third. Bill Hall's the second sacker. The catcher's J.R. Tolles. And he's teaming with Bud Norris for the first time this season.
There's veteran right-hander Javier Vasquez. He's working for the Marlins for the second time. First time did not go well. He's 0-1 with an inflated ERA after that outing against the Mets on Sunday. 2 1/3, 7 runs allowed, 4 earned. He's been pitching in the big league since 1998 when he broke in with the Montreal Expos. 152 wins in his major league career.
Got great stuff.
Well, you go back to 98 against this guy. That's when he started pitching against the Astros. You've got a memory bank on him, Baggy.
He does. You know, he had a real good fastball back then, about 93. Tremendous changeup, curveball, and a slider. But his changeup was really good, complemented his fastball.
Xfinity showing you that group of the Houston Nine with J.R. Tolles coming up with a 3-hit night last night. And during the pregame show, you might have noticed Patty Smith had some questions for Brad Mills about these battery mates pairing tonight. And he's just in that mode of let's try this and see how it goes for a while. Last time out, Humberto Quintero was the catcher, but there was a day game after a night game, and he doesn't want his catchers to be stacked up playing both of those games when he has that situation. So look for Q tomorrow.
Exactly.
Michael Bourne. It's that line drive to second, and that's out number 1. He went down for a low pitch.
Might have been a changeup right there.
Yeah.
Take a look now at Morrison, Coghlan, Stanton for the Marlins, and then Dobbs, Murphy, Infante, Gabby Sanchez. Omar Infante, nice piece to that puzzle for them, Baggy, and John Buck, the Astros farmhand, joined them as free agent.
Yeah, it's good to see John Buck back. You know, unfortunately, we traded him, and all of a sudden he's got a 3-year deal over here. But he deserves it. He's a good kid, and good to see it.
Strike one to Angel Sanchez. 292 his early season batting average with 3 runs batted in. And his approach really has struck us as a pretty solid approach.
He does not try and do too much. You know, he just tries to stay up the middle. Every once in a while he gets a little big. I'll tell you a funny story about him. I don't know if you guys remember, we were in St. Louis and he had the single, the triple, and the double. And I looked at him in the dugout. I said, "Kid, I've never told you this before, but try and go deep." On cue with a double.
Fan reaches over, fails to touch it. Here's Sanchez headed for second. Logan Morrison does not have an effort, and it's a double for Sanchez. Well, there's an 0-2 pitch, and he hits it fair just inside the bag. He's tough to finish off with 2 strikes.
Normally he's going the other way or up the middle. This time he gets the head out of it. Yeah, and he puts it into the Jack-in-the-Box's mug down there. 1-out double. Good look at it right there. Clearly a fair ball. Jim Wolf with the call.
Now he's in scoring position. Hunter Pence, the batter. Jim Wolf had the plate last night. Pence with a 259 average with a homer, has 2 runs batted in. Had a lot of long at bats last night, going 1 for 4, seeing 30 pitches in the game.
It's a lot of pitches for Hunter. I promise you that.
Yes, it is.
But that's good, though. The more you see, you know, especially early in the season, the more comfortable you're going to get in there.
Would you read anything into that? Would you think that's going to be a trend you'll see a little bit more this season from Hunter?
Brownie, I don't know if I can say that. Hunter's a very aggressive swinger. I think maybe he was just tipping balls last night, but you know, Hunter basically, if it's in the strike zone, he's going to let it fly. And you know, it'd be great for him to get more walks and get a little bit deeper in the count. But bottom line is, that's just not. That's deep.
Deep drive, right center field. Mike Stanton can't catch it. It's off the wall. Here's Sanchez. He was hung up. Dave Park's going to send him home. Here's the relay throw to the plate, and he is just barely in there. And that throw arrived just after he stepped on the plate for a 1-0 Houston lead. Wow.
I don't know. I think Angel ran out of gas, and I don't know if Carlos was not telling him to get down or what. But that was a little hairy at home plate. Go back to the swing first, a little slider out of third. Hunter really gets extended on it. Stanton can't get there. A little time before Coghlan finally corrals it, and we'll see Angel. He's going to hang up. He's going to give himself a chance to advance on a tag if it's caught.
Well,
And then
I think, JD, he probably should not have gone straight back to the bag right there. It should probably be where Hunter is right now, just because if that ball does land, you know, he can score easy.
Steps, and he still has time to tag up in advance.
Right, and get to third base, right, especially with one out.
Ball one to Carlos lead.
That being said, he scored.
Back doubles. Pence gets his third of the year, RBI number 3. Carlos banged into that left field wall last night. The breath was knocked out of him. There was a delay after the first batter of the game. Backed into it pretty hard with the wind blowing out. 2 balls, no strikes.
That's a big man back in that ball.
Yeah.
Might be 317 down there instead of 315.
2-0 to El Caballo. He's hit 3 career homers off Javier Vasquez, who's 34 years old. Seems older. Been around all that time. 11 straight years, double figures in wins. Now we'll see him back into that scoreboard wall.
Roof was open last night. The wind was pushing things out to left field. Probably drifting after this one. And he hit right for the bars where they crossed there.
Yeah,
So
for the fans back home, that's not padding.
Yeah,
I know.
Like an iron bar.
Vasquez misses there, and it's 3-1. As JD mentioned, it was a rough outing for Vasquez. See that area where he impacted last night. On Sunday, just 2 1/3 innings against the Mets. He's tagged for a couple of homers. But consistency has been a virtue for him. He's won 152. He's lost 150 in his career.
Routinely giving his club 200 innings or more.
Rolled up the middle. Pence breaking. And here's the play on to first by Infante. 2 outs.
I think what happened to JD, you can obviously mention this, is when you lose your velocity, you know, he doesn't throw 94 anymore. You know, he's got to pitch a little bit differently. You know, he just can't throw the fastball by you anymore. So his other breaking stuff, I think he's relying on that a lot more.
And so, you know, whenever you lose velocity, you have to rely on trying to trick hitters a little bit more. Sometimes you get a guy behind the plate, an umpire who squeezes you a little bit and he forces you over the plate. And if you don't have enough fastball, you can't live there. So you're stuck with either walking guys or throwing the ball over the fat part of the plate and backing up bases.
I mean, he still has a decent fastball. It looks like it's 89, 90.
Fred Wallace pops it up. Shortstop Murphy in. And the Astros settle for a run on 2 hits and strand a man at third. They lead 1-0.
run lead over the Marlins, and during the series against the Reds and this series against the Marlins, you score as the Astros score. For every run the Astros score, you receive $2 off field box tickets for the game against the Padres on Saturday, April 16th. Prices drop each day and are only available while supplies last. Visit astros.com/runs for tickets. Bill?
Thanks, Patty. 1-0 Astros, and Patty had a good visit with former President Bush last night. See what she comes up with later on tonight. We know we're going to get a visit here in the booth.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's going to be a tough night for me to follow. That was a highlight.
Yeah, wasn't it, though?
They're back. They just settled in
for more.
I think I've told you all like 3 times, but I'm going to tell you again. Did I tell you he held my hand?
You did say that a few times, but it's worth repeating, Patty, because some people might not have heard it.
Okay, well, he held my hand during God Bless America. Something I will never forget.
That does not happen to every girl.
No, Jeff Bagwell's never held my hand during God Bless America.
Next time, Patty.
I'll be waiting.
All right.
Patty must have a bucket list. Well, Houston native Brian Caswell, the Aramark signed chef, will be visiting us in the top of the 4th inning and bringing a lot of delectable items. So we have a celebrity chef on the way, we know, and then Patty will have some other stuff for us as well. This guy, Baggy's going to be interesting to watch. Mike Stanton with a 3-0 count here after the year he had last year. He hit more than 40 homers combined between Major League and minor league service, so he's going to be fun for the fans.
He's humongous.
He's a big dude.
Kind of reminds me, probably a little bit more put together, but when Cabrera came up,
yes,
Marlins, just a big kid,
man-child.
Stanton's been out. He had a quad injury in spring training, and lately he's had a hamstring strain, so he came in late last night, pinch hit. 21 years old.
Recruited to play a linebacker at USC.
I can see why.
Yeah.
Good-looking athlete. He's aboard with that leadoff walk on 4 pitches. Gabby Sanchez has been a hot stick at 414 for the Fish. He's driven in 4.
Got to take his picture and send your buddy Osmus a text. So if this guy's rounding third and heading home, you're A, going to block home play, B, move well up the line and pretend there's no play.
Exactly. Just straight lay it.
Yeah, exactly.
Pick it and swipe tag.
Gabby Sanchez had 3 hits in last night's game. He was the cleanup man, moved down to the number 5 spot with Stanton back in the lineup tonight. Sanchez drove in 85 last year. Now Bud Norris has not found the strike zone. He's thrown 6 straight balls to open the inning.
Sometimes that's what happens. You can get locked into the strike zone, and then you can get a big slugger up there, and you nibble a little bit, and you lose the zone, and it takes a while to get back in command.
Well, JD, this is what he's going to have to do to turn the corner. You have to stay away from the big innings. As what happened in Philadelphia, when you get 3-0 and you're facing Ryan Howard, that's never a good situation. So this is where Bud's learning curve is going to have to start going right now, where he's going to have to learn these situations and do what Arnie had said, is get on top.
Now another 4-pitch walk has him with runners at first and second, facing Greg Dobbs with nobody out.
Speaking of Arnie.
Yep.
1-0. The Astros lead it on back-to-back doubles in the first. Jeff Bagwell joining us on Saturday nights for home games, along with Bill Brown and Jim DeShays. Happy to have you aboard tonight for Game 2 of the Astros home season. And after getting that run of support in the first inning, now the visit from the pitching coach, Brad Arnsberg, for Bud Norris.
I imagine a lot of this is, look, just calm down, take a deep breath, stay with the game plan. You're 1 pitch from cleaning this inning up. He's not 1 pitch from getting out of it unless we have a triple play. That would be kind of fun. But just, hey, go back to basics, keep the ball down around the knees, get a little ground ball, let the boys turn a double play for you, and there'll be a little light at the end of the tunnel.
I think that's a good move by Brad, too, to come out there right at that time. Not let this inning get out of hand. So, as you said, JD, he's just trying to calm him down there. Maybe trying to overthrow a little bit too much.
Greg Dobbs hitting .500, 3 for 6, and he gets strike 1.
So the first pitch changeup. Instead of trying to overpower hitters, and that's what happens, especially for a young pitcher. You get behind in the count, you go, oh, these guys can all hit. They're all great hitters. So I can't just throw him a good fastball in a good location. I got to blow it by him, and you reach back to try to find a little something extra, and you misfire.
I don't care how hard you throw in the big leagues. If you throw it in bad location, people are going to hit it.
No balls, 2 strikes to Dobbs. Hanley Ramirez sitting this one out after being injured last night, and it's a contusion on his leg, so he could be back in the lineup tomorrow.
Well, that's good news for Hanley and Marlin fans, because when he went down, I thought maybe he'd blown out a knee or an ankle or something.
It looked bad.
Sure did.
Bill Hall sliding into him at second. It's a big bat to take out of the lineup.
Sure is, especially when he's kind of started off a little cold. Hitters like him don't stay cold very often.
Good point.
Well, for a long time.
24 for Bud Norris so far. He had a relatively easy first inning, and now got to battle a little bit. The back-to-back walks. Ground ball right at somebody here would go over really well in that Houston dugout. Foul back again.
A slider there?
Yeah, I think so.
Backup slider?
Yeah, a little helicopter slider. Just kind of hovered there. That's the one you throw. You throw that high slider sometimes, not intentionally. I guess the hitter's just out in front of it a little bit.
Everybody comes back to the bench.
Yeah.
Didn't break.
Yeah.
Jose Rio made a pretty good living off of that.
Catfish hunter, too, they said.
Really?
Yeah, I never really saw him pitch much. But I had a coach in AAA in Columbus by the name of Jerry McNertney. And Nert played for the Seattle Pilots for a time, and the Brewers, and he used to tell the story about facing catfish, and you throw that little baby slider like a little cutter, and you kind of hit a lazy fly ball to center, and you come back and slam your helmet. I just missed, and then at the end of the night you had 4 just missed, and you realize that guy out there was trying to do that.
Dobbs lines one over Wallace up the right field line. The runners broke back to the bases, so Stanton goes to third, gets a stop sign there, and the bases are loaded on the single by Dobbs.
Well, we are in the bit of a pickle here for Bud. Let's take a look at this at-bat pitch by pitch. Soft for strike 1. Soft for strike 2 on the foul ball, so off to a good start. Spoiled a good heater down. There's that backup slider we were talking about, and then another changeup. Made a lot of good pitches and ultimately got in there on him, too.
It wasn't a bad pitch.
Yeah, made good pitches pretty much throughout that sequence.
It's loaded, nobody out. It's John Buck. Buck drafted by the Astros in '98. Has gotten off to a very nice start with 7 runs batted in. He hit a grand slam on opening day. Buck did not start last night for the first time all year. John, 30 years old, signed a 3-year deal, as Jeff mentioned, as a free agent to join the Marlins after hitting 20 bombs for Toronto last year, driving in 66 with a .281 average. Doesn't walk much. He had 16 walks last year, 409 at bats.
All you got to do is go to the Blue Jays. Start hitting homers all over the place.
The killer bees, Buck and Batista.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's really turned into a pretty good offensive player. He's the 4th highest slugging percentage among catchers in Major League Baseball last year. He really wore out left-handed pitching.
I think that's part of the reason why we thought we could get rid of him back then. Is he just didn't hit that well.
Yeah.
Stayed with it, and as you said, Jimmy, one of the better hitting catchers.
Buck takes it. It's ball 2. Buck was traded in the 3-team deal to Kansas City in '04 that brought Carlos Beltran to Houston. John is from Kemmerer, Wyoming, but he was saying he moved to Utah at an early age, and he and Brandon Lyon were really good friends from about age 6 on. They used to have sleepovers and have known each other quite well down through the years. He was watching the Brandon Lyon appearance on opening day in Philadelphia, he said, really commiserating Brandon. 3 balls and a strike now to John Buck.
So good pitches in the sequence to Dobbs, but following behind Buck here, so real dangerous pitch coming. No room for him. 3 balls and 1 strike. And again, this is the time where you just can't pull one right down the middle. Got to make a pitch.
Buck fouls it back, full count.
You know, I remember Roger saying that when he was pitching for us. Even in these situations, he was not going to give in and just throw a ball right down the middle as hard as he could. He would throw it in the same spot that he always would. If he needed to get a little part of the plate, of course we're talking about Roger, but he'd rather give up a walk than give up a grand slam.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the maturation of the pitcher, because there's a stigma attached to the bases loaded walk. Nobody wants to do it, but I'll tell you what, it's a lot better than watching 4 guys circle the bases. No doubt.
Fly ball foul, goes outside first base. Brett Wallace watches it drift back into the crowd. Well, it makes all the sense in the world in this situation too, JD. Bases loaded, nobody out. Certainly a tough situation, but the number 8 hitter's on deck.
Well, you know, and he just threw him 2 good fastballs, but they were down. They were on the plate, but they were down, and Buck had to work a little bit to go down and get him. And so, you know, I guess, you know, it's just a point now if you're JR and Buddy, okay, let's see if we can throw him that slider. Let's just try to throw it off the outside edge. You got him kind of in swing mode here. You mentioned the fact that he hardly ever walks.
Tied up on that one. It was a good pitch. Still 3-2.
As you say, JB, right here, he's set up for the slider. If he can get it anywhere close to the plate. Once that ball gets inside on him, now he's really thinking about it.
Bud Norris 1-1 in his career in 3 starts against the Marlins. Marlins are on a 9-game road trip. They go to Atlanta and Philly after this stop.
Tough 2 stops right there.
Yes, it is. Edwin Rodriguez, the skipper. Strikeout number 2 for Bud Norris.
Once you get in on somebody's hands right there, you get nervous as a hitter. You start wanting to speed it up because you're afraid you're not getting that head of the bat to the ball. And once that little wrinkle comes in there, you just got no chance.
Now it's Donnie Murphy. 2-11 for Murphy. 2 runs batted in. Murphy cues one to first. Wallace flanks it. Tossing now to Norris as the tying run scores. And it's 1-1.
Damage control right now.
Yeah.
Now Javier can hit. Over the years, he's been able to put the ball in play at times. So this is no guaranteed out. Bud's still going to have to work hard here and concentrate.
And maybe that's the message being delivered by Bill Hall. Vasquez, I believe, better than 200 hitter lifetime.
I think
for a pitcher is well above average.
206. 13 doubles, 2 triples, a homer. 27 runs batted in. 1 out was all they could get anyway. The RBI is Murphy's 3rd of the year. Vasquez takes ball 1. He's not having it bad in that first start of the year.
It's never a good sign, huh, JD? Can't get up in the first inning.
Yeah. Come on, you got no ABs. You know you had a bad day.
Yes, sir. Take that 0 for 4 any day.
Yeah, that's a sweet line. Yeah.
You know, we were talking between innings, JD, about that Montreal pitching staff in the late 80s. Vasquez, Dustin Hermanson, Carlos Perez, Carl Pavano, Miguel Batista.
Ted Lilly.
Yeah, he came along. Little tap goes foul.
Batista is a guy that's
this dude's still going, man. He's still pitching.
He's still playing his guitar or whatever he plays and still pitching. He used to throw hard. The ball used to cut. I didn't like facing him.
Well, there were many games that were tough going to Montreal to play those talented young clubs. 25 pitches in the 2nd inning. Bouncer to first. Wallace has it. And Norris limits the damage to 1 run on 1 hit. Stranding 2. It's 1-1. Cancer Center making cancer history. April 9th, 1965. Houston's 8th wonder of the world, the Astrodome, hosts baseball's first indoor game. An exhibition game against the New York Yankees. And the Astros won it in the 12th inning on a single by player coach Nellie Fox. Mickey Mantle, who was leading off for the Yankees, got the first hit.
Guys, we have 2 seconds. I'd just like to mention Stretch Suba's father passed away, longtime Astros bullpen guy. I just want to wish him and his family our condolences.
Absolutely. We saw his dad here and back at the Dome so many games. He was a regular.
Through BP, didn't he?
He might have.
A long time ago.
Didn't know that.
That's what Stretch says.
Always had that cowboy hat on and his boots.
You bet. Cracked bat, grounder by Johnson, and Chris is thrown out. 1 pitch, 1 out for Javier Vasquez as Greg Dobbs takes care of it. Bill Hall will bat second. Hall at 160 with 1 RBI, trying to get it started. And he's a key man for the Astros. If he starts producing runs, he could be coming up a little bit higher in that lineup, batting 7th tonight. We were talking the other day, Baggy, about people saying so-and-so's off to a slow start after 5 or 6 games. What do you think is a reasonable number of at-bats for a hitter to classify as a start?
Well, it depends on the hitter you're talking to. The hitter's in a bad spot. I started the year in 2000, I think, 2 for 20 something. So that was pretty slow for me. The hard part is, Billy, as he sits there and he's walking up and he's looking at the scoreboard, and you see 160, but what you got to remember is 2 or 3 hits in 1 game or 2 or 3 hits over a few games. Next thing you know, it's 200. Then another couple of hits. Next thing you know, it's 250. It goes pretty quick here early, so you just got to relax and do your work.
Out to right center field. Coughlin way back deep into the reaches of the ballpark. 1 hops the wall. It stays up on Towles Hill. Hall checks in with a double. Second double for Bill Hall this season.
Pair of doubles in the first inning. And now 1-out double here in the second off the bat of Bill Hall. Good start.
You look at his head after he got to second base and you look where the ball was. He went, oh my God, I should have went to third. So that's what Billy can do, though. He hit the ball a long way the opposite field to the gaps and to straightaway right. Watch his head.
All aboard J.R. Tolles, who had a very nice game last night as the batter. 417 for J.R. 1 homer, 2 runs batted in. He's hit in all 3 of his starts this season.
Well, and that's the time to go for it, too, with 1 out.
Yes.
With the 8-hole hitter up, you'd be nice to be standing on third base right now.
Tolles had a homer and a couple of singles last night.
As you're talking about getting off to starts, I mean, it's really good for us that JR's gotten off to the start he has. You know, a few years ago when he was given the job, he didn't get off to the greatest start. Now he's come back, getting a couple chances, and all of a sudden, looking up at the board, he's hitting 417. So that's good. That's a good feeling for him, and obviously a great feeling for us.
Hit 300 in spring training.
Yeah, that's the players, boy, they try to tell you they don't pay attention to the stats and the numbers. And I remember, when you're going good and you look up and you got a good ERA, yeah. And then there are other times when you look up there, my goodness, please take that down.
Let's see, if I throw 4 shutouts in a row,
I'll be down under 5.
Yeah, it's the same in hitting, I promise you. If I go 12 for my next 10, I'll be hitting 300.
I remember a game in Anaheim once when I was with the Twins. She hit a curveball right there, and pitching against Mark Langston. We both had really inflated ERAs. I'm sitting in the dugout, and there was a cop in the dugout before the game. He looks up and says, "Oh my goodness, this game's going to take forever." And I was sitting right next to him. I was getting ready to go down and warm up. I said, "Hey, that's me, pal. That 787 up there, it's all me."
Area code.
Norris on deck as Tolles tries to deliver Hall. Hall dancing off second. That brand new 1080i HD video board really lights up the building. Here's a look at the swing last night. JR has been known to pull a few balls back.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get inside on JR. He's got real quick hands inside. It's kind of his swing path. What we got to do with him and JR is just get his swing path, and we can do other things with it instead of just pulling the ball and being one-dimensional. But he keeps going the way he's starting out now. He can go ahead and tell me to do whatever because he's doing all right.
Well, on guys who are quick like that, don't they see a steady diet of off-speed stuff?
Yeah. Once they show that they're that quick, they're not going to get that many fastballs until they prove they can hit that. And that's what this game is. It's just a game of adjustments. I'm sure everybody's heard that, but it's true. Especially nowadays with so much scouting and so much video and all that, you got to make some adjustments.
Vasquez gets a strikeout. That's number 1. And it's Bud Norris next.
I love reactions like that. It's great.
Tolles a strikeout victim. Now Norris, he's 0 for 1 in the early going this season. Bud has 10 career hits for a 164 average, 2 driven in. Line shot, left field corner. The Astros grab a 2-1 lead. Norris waits it out in second. Yeah, he's running hard. RBI double for Norris. That's a lift when the pitcher comes up with 2 outs and delivers the runner.
We talked a lot about Vasquez's ability in the batter's box, but to handle the bat as well. 4 hits for the Astros, all doubles. One here, picking on that first pitch fastball with 2 outs.
That's Bud. And Bud, maybe he thought he was going to hit a triple. I don't know. It's only 3:15 down here.
Save a little bit. Got a lot of pitching to do.
Yes.
He's in scoring position for Michael Bourne, who grounded out to second earlier. Vasquez with ball 1. Marlins pitching has been good. 3rd best ERA in the league, 2.69.
I promise you, Bud's going to hit at least 1 in the Crawford boxes this year.
I do. I'm with you on that one. He thinks he's going to hit maybe more than that.
He probably got himself down for 12.
2 balls, no strikes.
That's a big lift for Bud right there after having that inning and giving up 1 run. Now he comes out and gets his own knock. Hopefully he's just not too tired from running like that.
He's got great endurance because of his water polo days back in high school.
Exactly.
Bourne looks at ball 3. Vasquez last year was 10-10 for the Yankees with a 5.32 ERA.
The year before in Atlanta, he had a heck of a year, didn't he?
Yeah. And, you know, 34 years old. As you pointed out, he's lost some off the fastball, but he was 15-10 for Atlanta in 09 with a 2.87 ERA, worked 219 innings.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, they talk about maybe that New York got in his head. That would be the second time that they said that about him. I'm not so sure. But imagine that's a pretty tough place to pitch, huh, JD?
Yeah, I think that division.
Yeah, no kidding.
The lineups are up against that division are awfully hard. And the whole American League with the DH, you're bound to have a little bit of a higher ERA.
Foul ball, and JD was just about ready to find out how tough it was to pitch in Yankee Stadium when he got traded to the Astros.
Yeah, that's right.
How many games did you pitch in Yankee Stadium?
Well, one. I think one. Let me think. Yeah, one in Yankee Stadium, and then one on the road. And then I got sent back down, and then next year I got traded over here.
There's a walk for Michael Bourne, number 4 of the year for him. First of the night for Javier Vasquez. Angel Sanchez, the batter, he doubled just inside the third base bag at the first. Clint Varmus is doing more and more now. He's been cleared to take some swings with the bat. He's not hitting the baseball yet, but he can swing it after that broken bone in his hand. And doing all the fielding work and running. Baggy, you've had that same injury. He's going to wear that same pad that you wore.
Yeah, we've already had a little skull session about that. So don't even worry about it. You won't even think about it when it's on your hand. But yeah, I have a little experience with that 3 times.
That pad, I remember.
Get out of the way, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But it worked for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was never a thought. But I did find out real quick, and I think it was 95 when I came back. 93, 94, 95, and Xavier Hernandez hit me right in the middle of that thing.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing went flying right back to the wall. I looked at my hand. I'm like, oh, no, I'm okay.
It really worked. You hit a few times on that pad. Sanchez came out of his game plan a little bit there. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Pedro took a shot on me one time.
Did he?
Sorry, get your head back in there, Sanchez. No big deal.
That went back, and it's still a 1 ball, 2 strike count.
I think that's going to be one of the bigger challenges for an everyday player. You get 4 at-bats a night. So how many pitches do you actually get to swing at? Get out and you chase a bad ball, or you miss a pitch you should have hit. The ability to kind of turn the page, to be able to put that behind you and then go back to work to refocus. That can't be easy.
No, well, the really, really good hitters do it a lot quicker than the other ones. Oh, we got a break there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know the really, really good hitters. That's what they do. They can make the adjustment on the fly a lot quicker than the guys that struggle a little bit. And that's the constant battle you have, and that's why they talk about the mentality of hitters. I mean, there's a ton of mental that goes into hitting.
Line drive over second into center field, and Norris to the plate. An RBI single for Bourne. For Sanchez gets Bourne to third base, and Bud Norris scores. And the Astros lead it now 3-1. Bud Norris coming around to score after getting hit number 2 of the inning, and here's the third one.
Yeah, this punches one into shallow center field.
He got a little bit big on that swing that he missed, and then got his game plan back together. try and stay up the middle, stay back on that breaking ball.
I'll tell you who maybe the greatest example of that is playing the game right now, at least of the guys that we see routinely. Joey Votto is such a good hitter. He takes an ugly
Really
pass.
bad swing.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then he gets back in there and hits a rocket somewhere.
You're exactly right, JD. I was watching a few of those games. I'm like, God, is that bad? Next thing you know, it's a rocket somewhere.
Stadi had him. Sometimes you need a little good fortune. Sanchez gets another swing and delivers.
He's 2 for 2, and that's his 4th RBI of the season. So Norris a factor offensively in this inning. He delivered the big 2-out double, and he scored. Now Hunter Pence. He had the RBI double to right center in the first. Hunter's one of the few guys that chokes up. What do you think of that?
Well, I think it's great. If that feels natural and you can do it. I mean, if there's one way to hit, everybody would do it. Hunter's a little unorthodox. I think more impressive to me is he only uses one batting glove. Just don't see that.
There's the force play at second from Dobbs to Infante. And the Astros get 2 on 3 hits. They strand 2, and they lead it 3-1.
Houston 3, Florida 1. Time now to introduce you to our progressive fans of the game. I've got William, I've got Frank. They are huge Astros fans. They're out here all the time. But today you guys are doing a little shopping.
Yes, ma'am. We're here at FanFest garage sale this weekend. Picked up a great little Astros lunchbox for my little sister and some umbrellas for those spring showers coming in.
And Frank, you got some stuff yourself.
Yeah, I got a 2009 Rollins Gold Glove Award, Michael Bourne. I can't wait to get the second one tomorrow, complete the set. I also got a tie for my dad, early, Father's Day gift. So
these guys are thinking ahead. Of course, FanFest is going on all weekend out here. The garage sale's out here on the concourse. It will start at 11:30 tomorrow. Great giveaways, just like this little mystery bag for $50. At least 1 to 3 autographed items from current or former players, and all kinds of other stuff out here. T-shirts, just all kinds of great stuff. Dirt cheap. It's a lot of fun. And like any true Astro fan, I asked William, who's your favorite player?
It's got to be Jeff Bagwell. In fact, I actually have last year. He signed my personalized jersey of his, and I have it framed at home now in my man cave.
It is Man Cave Jeff Bagwell. Sounds like I have a little competition for the hand holding next weekend for our little deal. But in the meantime, as a consolation, you are progressive fans of the game. Thank you so much. And guys, I'm going to send it back to you.
Thank you, Patty. There's strike one to Chris Coughlin. Bud Norris got a little visit from his battery mate, J.R. Tolles, to buy him a little extra time before this first pitch after he ran the bases. And it's 1-1.
I think he's rooting for McElroy tomorrow.
Yeah.
Coughlin.
Yeah. He and Brian McTaggart.
Yeah.
Little Irish thing. Baggy, you were signing autographs today, weren't you?
was. And obviously, I'm not quite the player I used to be. Not quite the lines that I was used to. That's fine.
Autographs are flying around. We saw Larry Durker. You know, a lot of other former players were here signing as well as a part of Fan Fest. Toward the corner, Carlos Lee coming over and running out of room. That part is padded.
Now we got to move that sign back too.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
He's literally bouncing off the walls these last 2 nights.
Well, the stadiums have brought the game closer and closer to the fielders. More and more collisions with walls with these newer ballparks that have been built. We saw the Marlins right fielder Bonifacio go into that low fence in foul territory last night. And then Carlos banged into the wall. Coughlin himself ran into a wall in Florida a couple nights ago. So that's part of it, learning exactly where that wall is and applying the brakes or sliding or however it happens.
Wasn't it Hunter's first year that he ran straight into the wall, going 1,000 miles an hour? I mean, never even slowed down.
They are close.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about guys selling out, and you love the all-out effort, but there is something to be said for self-preservation in a 162-game schedule. Live to fight another day. There it is in Fox Mo. And again, Norris effective down, keeping that fastball down.
Infante takes ball 1. He hit a fly ball. Well, baggy guys like Eric Davis, Ken Griffey Jr. is so fast they routinely run into walls, and that's not always good for your health.
No, and we had a conversation. Even Hunter was in the conversation in spring training, talking about don't get hurt in spring training. It's nice to have effort and all that. And the guys that really need all the effort are the guys trying to make the team. But a guy like Hunter Pence doesn't need to be diving around all over the place and take a chance of getting hurt.
So face first on bullpen mounds.
Yeah.
Fly ball to right center. Michael Bourne.
I was talking to him about the Tigers, who have, much of them are veterans that have already made the team. And when they hit a ground ball, they're not busting it to first base. I promise you that. And the reason I brought that up is because Jason Castro, who hit a ground ball, and I was at that game, was busting it to first base, and it was a play that really didn't need to happen. And weird things can happen on stuff like that. He just should have, taken his time, just let that big dude Cabrera get, just tag him and get out of the way. Just don't want to see something silly like that turn into a season-ending injury.
Logan Morrison popped short in the first inning. Natural tendency of the young players to play hard in spring training.
It is, and I'm okay with that, but to a degree. I even remember during the season I watched a lot of first basemen stick their hands into the runners as they're running down first base, and I always told myself, unless it's the 7th game of the World Series, I'm not sticking my hand in there. We're talking about missing a whole year and more, maybe not even having the wrist or the power in your wrist that you had before. It's just not worth it.
Fly ball left. Carlos Lee plays it off the wall, and he's got a throw coming into second base, and safe. Morrison hustles it into a double, his 3rd of the year.
Well, you watch that right there. He actually he was kind of looking as he rounded first base. He shouldn't even think like that. With 2 outs, you got to make the effort to get to second base. Just don't even think about it. If you're going to hit it against the wall, just keep running to second base and see what happens.
Yeah, there was a little hesitation after he rounded first, and it almost cost him. Carlos has become so adept at playing that carom out there.
Now, with 1 out, it's a different story. You don't want to run yourself into an out. But with 2 outs, you do the best you can to get in score position.
Great look at there. Good replay.
Mike Stanton took a 4-pitch walk and came around to score on a ground out earlier. Ball 1 to Stanton.
Carlos has taken a lot of heat every once in a while about hustling and all that. But I'll tell you what, I see him busting his butt every single night out there, and he really has learned how to, as Jimmy said, play that wall out there. And he's running into walls the last 2 nights and been running hard to first base even when he's making out. So I give Carlos a lot of credit.
2 balls, no strikes. Well, let's face it, not everybody is cookie cutter made. So you have larger players, heavier players, and then you have the little lightweight guys who play on the infield or run all over the outfield.
Center fielder out there. Yeah, there it is. I didn't even look. There he is.
You get the shot of Carlos and the shot of Michael.
It's more fun with different body types. But I think the bigger players are sometimes more susceptible targets for the fans.
Yeah.
Well, I remember, talking with Phil Garner about Carlos, and Gar never had a problem with Carlos's effort. He said, "Hey, look at this guy. He knows how to stay on the field. He plays 160 games. He gives you tough at bats. If there are times when he doesn't sprint as hard to first base as he possibly can on a routine ground ball, maybe that's part of his self-preservation."
Well, unfortunately, sometimes look around the league. There's a lot of guys that don't. But Carlos seems like he takes a brunt of the punishment from fans.
Well, because when you're not performing.
Yeah, well, that's a big
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead and hit 340. You can jog all over the place.
Well, a green light for Stanton brought a big furious swing. And now 3-1. This guy hit 22 homers for the Fish and 359 at bats last year after hitting 21 at Jacksonville.
Typically with big strong guys, you feel like you can get in on a time up. At Stanton, you see he's pretty far off the plate, so he's got to come moving towards the plate to cover that outside part. You think you'd be able to jam him,
but there's so much space in between there. You kind of get nervous that might be the sweet spot. Yeah. Carlos stands a long way away too, and people are afraid to come in on him also.
It's just a tougher pitch to execute. The pitch I'm talking about, the one that ties him up, is a ball.
Yeah.
And when it's 3-1, if you come in there and he takes it, now you've walked him.
Right on that white line right there is a perfect spot where you're talking about. Here it comes.
3-2.
But JD, talk about that. There's a lot of right-handers that do not like to throw change-ups to right-handers, and I don't understand that.
Well, I never like to throw my change-up to a left-handed hitter, being a left-handed pitcher. I could command my change-up very well down and away to a right-handed hitter. I couldn't throw it to the other side of the plate. It's very difficult to throw it away to a lefty. But what some pitchers have learned to do is to go ahead and throw it inside. Maddox used to do it. He'd throw it inside to right-handed hitters.
I got a whole bunch of strikeouts I can tell you about that.
Yes. And did he go? Yeah, struck out, and much to his surprise, that's the end of the top of the inning. Strikeout number 4 for Bud Norris. The Astros leading it over the Marlins 3-1.
Go to the bottom of the third. Tomorrow is a special day because the Astros will host the Florida Marlins at 105, and the first 10,000 fans receive a Michael Bourne Gold Glove bobblehead courtesy of AT&T. Fans can enjoy FanFest starting at 11:30 before the game, and so visit Astros.com to purchase your tickets tonight. And by the way, speaking of that, we have not plugged this enough. Don't forget, we're taking emails again, and at one particular time during the season, we'll be having questions that will be answered by JD and Browning the Booth. Easiest spot to go, foxsportshouston@yahoo.com, or you can go to the website, go to the baseball section, and click right on. That's how to do it. We're always looking for emails. They all get answered. Some get used on the air. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Greg. And here is Carlos Lee looking at ball one. Who drew that cap on him,
Put a little cap on Greg.
All right. Greg didn't see that, but JD drew a cap on it.
Too busy reading my stuff. Good job. Good use of the telescope.
That's right.
It's been paid for. We're going to use it, by golly.
Fly ball, and Coughlin moves over. One out for Javier Vasquez with Brett Wallace coming in. Brett popped up in the first inning, shortstop. Do you see any differences, Jeff, in Brett Wallace compared to the Brett Wallace of last year?
Well, it's a little early. I know him and Barney are working with a lot of things. I think Barney was just trying to get him off the plate just a little bit because he was getting jammed on the pitches in. I've been watching on TV, and there's some teams that like to go in there. If you look at the hits that he had yesterday, 4 great at-bats, all fastballs away, I believe. So eventually, see, he's coming in here. So he's going to have to learn how to hit that pitch in there as well as cover the outside part of the plate. The only guy I could see that didn't hit many fastballs in there was Lance Berkman, but he could foul them off with the best of them. And most pitchers nowadays don't like to pitch in all the time. So I know they're really working at it, just trying to get him off the plate just a little bit. But that was a good sign last night. Those were 4 great at-bats last night.
Yeah, I thought the Marlins did him a favor the way they pitched him last night. I don't think Nolasco really worked him in much at all.
Well, so that's been the trend that I've seen in baseball in the last 10 years. Is pitchers generally they'll go in there once, but will they go in there twice, 3 times, back-to-backs, all that kind of stuff? And I just generally don't see it. I mean, you're going to see it at this at-bat. I don't know if it's the smaller ballparks. I don't know what it is. And I know, a fastball down the way is a great pitch. There's no doubt about that. But I just don't see a lot of guys double, tripling up inside.
Wallace hits it on the ground. Gabby Sanchez, 2 outs.
A lot of it, too, is pitchers we're guilty of overthinking sometimes. And the book on somebody might be, hey, just stay in, just pound him in. And you may do it a little bit, and then you start to waver from that plan. You go, well, sooner or later, he's going to start looking in there, so I'm going to go away, and then the next thing you know, the guy bangs him off the wall, or it's line drive somewhere, and you're kicking yourself. But you do tend to overthink it sometimes.
And then we come back to the bench and say, can you believe?
What is he thinking?
Yeah.
Chris Johnson grounded to third.
I think pitchers in general, they give hitters a lot more credit than they deserve. I mean, think about the amount of outs that we make. The best ones in the game, 3 out of 10. Most don't hit that. So I think they give us more credit, and that's when you start, overthinking the matchup. If a guy shows you can't hit the ball in, why would you try to throw something away?
Right. And I think that's what, the advanced scouting and the video and all the information they have now, you've got a better chance of finding out who can handle what than ever before.
Yes, no doubt. And there's also how many guys can actually stay in there and actually command the ball in there. There's a lot of guys that can say I'm going in there, but next thing you know they fly open or pull one across their body, and next thing you know it's a fastball middle away and it's a home run, single, whatever you want to call it.
2-2 to CJ. Vasquez has thrown 53 pitches so far. 33 for strikes. This will be a big season for Chris, for Brett Wallace, and some of the other guys, Baggy. When you get to the end of this year for them, and they have more than 500 at-bats, much better idea what you might be looking at down the road.
No, there's no doubt about it. It's a big year for them. It's a big year for our organization. They got to prove that they belong here in the big leagues, and if they're going to be our future.
And that's what really hurts about the injury to Jason Castro. You just don't have that year of discovery and development.
Exactly right. I'm pulling for all of them. That they can be our future. It'd be great to have them, finally at the end of the year say, yeah, these are going to be our guys, and let's build around this.
That's strike 3, and that ends the third inning. Strikeout number 2 for Javier Vasquez. 3-1 Astros. For the fourth inning, we're very pleased to be joined by Houston native and award-winning chef Brian Caswell, and he has brought some great food to the booth tonight. JD, we've sampled this, and we're probably going to sample some more.
Yeah, well, it's on display in the press dining. We had some the night we unveiled the new scoreboard. Looks wonderful.
Oh, Brian,
thank you, guys.
Done a job.
I'm happy to be a part. You know, being able to partner with Aaron Mark and be here with the Astros organization, it's been a dream come true for me. I've been a fan all my life.
That is terrific. Now, your travels have been from one restaurant to another in the Houston area. Have you left the area at all?
Oh yeah, I spent about 9 years away. Went to school at CIA in Hyde Park, New York.
Okay.
And then from there, I was in Hong Kong, Bangkok, Bahamas, Barcelona, Manhattan for a number of years.
Terrific.
And then actually was lucky enough to come back in 03, 04, right there December, open up the Hotel Icon. So I moved back right in time for the excitement, and it was great.
Now tell us what new delicacies you have brought to Minute Maid Park.
Well, we've got a couple different things we're trying to do. We're doing some items in the 5-7 grill, and we definitely we've got two different kind of carts. As you see right now, we're doing the slider cart over there off the first base line, and then over towards the third base line, we're doing our El Real. It's our Mexican food, doing a fajita cart. And then we're doing different things for the sweet menus, different options. Still trying to keep with some of the baseball thing, but just maybe just adding another swing to the swing set.
Now, what is this I'm eating right here?
Let's see what you got there. That's pistachio pound cake with a little sour cherry.
You gotta be kidding me, man. That's unbelievable.
Look at this.
And for the record, I was squarely in your corner on this next Food Network star.
Oh, I
thought you should have won, man.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I thought I should have won, too.
Fun experience, though?
It was great. Yeah, the next Iron Chef was a lot of fun. I was really happy to be a part of that whole
Next Iron Chef, I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. And, it was pretty hectic, but I enjoyed it. I was away for 6 weeks almost. So
really?
It was a little nerve-wracking being away from all my family and friends and definitely the restaurants.
0-2 pitch banged off the leg of Greg Dobbs. So you've been an Astros fan all these years, but yet in the restaurant business, you're working nights. You don't get a chance to watch that much baseball.
On the big games, I'm just popping in and out of the bar. Yeah. Trying to figure out who's where and what, and following it. Like I said, when I was working in the Hotel Icon, we opened that place right there, and 04 or 05 came. There's probably some plates that didn't go out right during those series. I remember we set up in the cafeteria, the staff cafeteria. We set up a big. I brought in a big screen, and man, we were running back and forth all throughout service watching the games.
Sanchez takes the one hopper, gets Dobbs. That's out number 2. Well, just thinking about the way baseball crowds react and what they want, this seems to be perfect because it's a light bite. People can run up, grab it, get back to their seat.
Exactly, absolutely. That's the whole idea. We're not trying to bog anybody down. We're not trying to teach anybody how to eat. We're just something that makes sense. Put it in your mouth and go back to watching the game.
We've lost our friend Jim Chase for the.
It's delicious. Whatever's going on with this. Can I drink this?
Yeah, that's yeah. So
really?
You take a little bite and then you take a little sip.
Wow.
Ooh.
Like a cocktail consomme.
Interesting. John Buck, the batter. He struck out on a 3-2 pitch. Now he rolls one up the middle. Angel Sanchez. The good play to get him. Brian Caswell, thanks so much for what you're bringing to Minute Maid Park, and thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.
Stop by anytime.
Yeah, you got it.
Anytime.
All right.
the season for your lawn. Visit your local Lowe's for savings and a free MLB fan guide. Compliments of Scott's.
JD making a strong comeback to read that promo after dousing himself in shrimp.
Pound cake and shrimp.
3-1, and the Astros lead with Bill Hall coming up. He doubled and scored in the second inning. High drive to center, hanging there for Coughlin. One pitch, one out for Javier Vasquez. Astros coming into this game had walked 14 times in 7 games, 59 strikeouts. I'm sure they like to improve that ratio, but we've talked about that last year, Jeff. There are players who just probably aren't going to walk very much in their career.
You just can't teach anybody to start taking pitches. It just doesn't work. It gets them out of their game plan, which is very, very difficult to do. So I think you either are or you're not. And our guys are not.
Did you feel that you acquired a knack for walking once you got the respect of the pitchers?
Because what happens is you just start to realize what's going on out there. In certain situations, you know you're not going to get pitches to hit. You just get a better feel for the game of baseball and what each pitcher's trying to do to you on every given night. So you know, if they're going to give it to you, you might as well take it, because the good pitches you're certainly not going to hit that well, especially off the plate. So it became easier as I got a little bit older.
JR says he's dropped his hands a little bit, and he likes the results of the swing from the lower hand position, along with Mike Barnett's work. They've really done that, and Mike wants him to be a little more upright at the plate than he was.
And you can see that he used to be bent over a little bit more. Now, that being said, if we're not walking a lot, you know, it would be nice, talking from a guy that struck out 1,500 times, to put the ball in play a little bit more. If you're not going to be able to get that ratio, you know, a little bit more closer to even. And some of that, you know, in certain situations, if you can put the ball in play, there's a chance for you to get to first base. Obviously, if you don't, then you have no chance.
Charge by shortstop Murphy. 2 outs. Once you become a power hitter, you're going to get that respect from pitchers who do not want to challenge you in situations. Walk totals should go up if you show them that you can hit the power.
Yes. Well, and back in the day, you used to get that respect from the umpires, too. I saw a big turn in my career after I got hurt. I didn't quite get the same pitches that I was beforehand. But yeah, you know, that just comes with, you know, I'm going to say age, just time. You know, you start to learn the game of what's going on. It's just not getting up there and not having a plan, not seeing, you know, being on deck and realizing, okay, there's nobody on first base, that maybe you shouldn't be looking for first pitch fastball and swinging that first pitch slider in the dirt. Just, you know, game awareness, basically.
No balls, 2 strikes to Bud Norris, but in the second inning, here's what he did.
Earned a little respect. Javier Vasquez has thrown him a couple of breaking balls here in this at-bat after that swing.
Good point. And he chases that one in the dirt, striking out. Easy inning for Vasquez, who now has set down 7 in a row. That's his 3rd strikeout. It's 3-1 Astros.
season is brought to you by Steel, by AT&T, by Jack in the Box, by Gullo Automotive, and by Southwest Airlines. Bud Norris has really settled in after that one shaky inning with his control. And since then, the Astros have added some runs thanks to his batting part and have a 3-1 lead as the action moves to the fifth. The guys upstairs are all ready as you see Bud Norris concentrating hard and finishing strong.
Well, Greg, he got to that bases loaded, no out situation on John Buck in the second inning. Working out, Phil struck him out. Looking back now, that looks like it could be a turning point tonight, Baggy, for Bud.
Well, no doubt. That was huge. As we talked about before, damage control. He did a great job with that, came back, and we scored a couple runs. So, win-win.
Almost hit Donnie Murphy. Ball one to Murphy, who on the ground out got the run home for the Fish. But Norris was able to get him out for out number 2 after striking out Buck, and then he retired Vasquez. And only 1 run scored from that bases loaded, no out situation. If you're a major league hitter, you have a bases loaded, nobody out. You're expecting to score at least, what, a couple runs, you're thinking? Or?
Yeah, you would hope. I mean, obviously there's going to be situations where you don't score any and you score 1, but, those are your big innings. Luckily for us, it got down to kind of the bottom of their order. The scary part is when you get to, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's when it gets real scary. That's the time where you try to put up crooked numbers. Not, it doesn't happen all the time, but that's go mode right there.
Bud was 9-10 last year. Ground ball to third, Chris Johnson. 1 out. Bud's another one of those guys who will provide a lot of answers probably to many people at the end of this season. He's 26 years old. 9-10 last year. Number 4 starter this year. By the end of this season, you ought to have a lot better idea of what to expect from his career going forward.
Well, yeah, and I think, we talked about his changeup and the maturation and development of a young pitcher. When you've got an arm like Bud, he probably went through the minor league system without having to learn how to pitch a whole lot. He could just overpower hitters, fastball, slider. So now you start to learn, okay, I need to develop that changeup a little bit. Command and movement may be more important than velocity, so let's focus more on that. And then once you kind of start to understand all that, put it all together, then that's when you take that next step. You go from a strong arm kid who can have some good games just because of his stuff to a guy who's a really good pitcher who gives you a better and even chance every time he goes out there. And that's what you're hoping to get, because you can't shake a tree and get a guy that throws 95 miles an hour. So you hope, this kind of arm develops into a really good pitcher, not just a thrower.
Well, you remember, I think about that a lot too, JD. Curt Schilling. Curt Schilling used to pitch at about 92, 93. Hit his spots, do all those kind of things, throw a split, all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, when the situation got big, all of a sudden you look up and he's throwing 95, 96. He doesn't have to overthrow, as you say, and throw his fastball as hard as he can all the time. Pitch first, and then when you need it and it's back in the tank, then you reach down, as Roy used to say, in the bottom of that bucket and bring out that 95.
And you want to turn the clock way back. Think back to the days when Nolan was pitching. And he used to go for those long, slow strolls around the mound, rubbing up the ball, and you knew it was coming. He was just gathering it up.
1 ball, 1 strike. Coughlin has whiffed both times up tonight. Bud's parents, David and Susie Norris, are here from California watching.
They got those arms folded because they wouldn't know what to do with them if they let them go.
Well, Coughlin has seen that slider before. Bud just broke off another good one on him.
You get him with a low fastball last time, in also?
That sounds right, yep.
Yeah, slider first time, fastball last time.
Tap. It's some of the fun shots we see of parents watching the young players Such a big time, of course, that they have to watch their sons play Major League Baseball, try to get established.
That's you forget, it's a big stage, but these folks have been doing this since he was a little guy. It's just a bigger stage. There we go. There we go.
There's some reaction.
They say that's the third time he's got him.
That's 6 strikeouts in the game at 3-1 Houston.
Punch him out. Of the 5th, bring your dog to Minute Maid Park on Sunday, April 17th. Well, that's next Sunday. It's Dog Day, presented by HEB. Astros host the Padres, 105. Dog Day tickets include a bullpen box seat for you and your pooch, a pooch parade, and a costume contest. Astros.com/dogday for information.
It's a pooch.
Pooch. Michael Bourne fouls at strike 1. He's grounded out and walked tonight.
Pooch parade. Yeah. That's what I worry about.
Always good on the warning track.
Yeah.
That's what I call the warning track.
Up the middle and fielded by Murphy. Spins around. Didn't get him. Infield hit for Michael Bourne.
Well, nice play. That'll get most. That'll get just about everybody in the league, but it didn't get Michael Bourne.
He did nothing wrong, Baggy.
No, he did not. It's funny. I was watching that, and it almost looked like Michael was running almost at the outside white line.
Oh.
I don't know if he thought it went through.
Angel Sanchez was 2 for 2 with an RBI.
Yeah, probably getting ready to make a turn. I'm thinking it's going to get through.
Could have.
Doesn't matter. He's safe.
There's ball 1. Did you see the interference call on Carlos Lee last night?
I did.
And there was a similar play in the Cardinal game. Don't know if you saw that or not.
I did not see that.
Well, it was similar. The pitcher came over. The ball was near the first base line. He threw, and Albert Pujols was stretching towards second and dropped the throw. The runner was clearly to the inside of the baseline. No call there. So it's a little confusing sometimes.
It is, and I think by the rule he made the right call, although I wish they didn't. But he's definitely in that, and that's kind of like, it's a weird thing. It's kind of like the baseline you have when you go second or third. You kind of create your own baseline. Carlos never ever deviated from where he was. But I guess it's how much the umpire at home plate's actually paying attention.
Brad Mills did not object to the call. He just wanted to hear Jim Wolf's reasoning, and his reasoning was that Carlos's position on the inside of the baseline caused the pitcher to alter his throw.
Yeah, he just tried to goose the ball over Carlos, and Carlos was inside the line. Again, we talked about it last time. The throw does not have to hit the runner.
Right.
The umpire feels like his presence inside the line affected the throw, or forced the pitcher or the catcher, whoever's making the play, to make an errant throw that he can rule out.
Well, it's the old adage that we all talk about interesting rules. And, you talk about golf, you talk about baseball, but the baseline is on the inside, the outside part of the base, which makes it kind of awkward to be running on top of that baseline.
Right, because if you are in the lane, you have to kind of come back to the field of play to get the bag. And that's where they normally will give you a little leeway. When you're closer to the base, if you slide over to the, because you got to come to the bag at some point. If the throw hits you there, I don't think they're going to call you out.
Well, we can go back to the big guy, small guy thing. If Michael's running doing that, the guy doesn't have to try and throw it over his head as much. Carlos, you have to try and throw it over his head because he's bigger. And maybe that played a part in it. I'm not sure. But even if they didn't call it, I bet they wouldn't argue too much over there either.
Mm-hmm. Good jump for Michael. No throw by John Buck. It's ball 4 anyway. Time now for the Coors Light Freeze Cam. The Coors Light Freeze Cam is brought to you by the Cross Brewed Coors Light. Sanchez taking a look at that pitch, and it's a ball. Javier Vasquez then makes a mistake. Sanchez with a looping RBI single, scoring Bud Norris. So that was a call that could have ended the inning, but instead the Astros went on to score their 3rd run.
Kind of breaks you need right there. Dave Clark down there giving Hunter Pence to the bunt sign, I'm sure.
There was talk about that on the post-game shows last night.
I'm sure.
There's a lot of interesting talk on the post-game show. We're talking about the radio, the call-in show on the radio.
Yes. Yeah. About Hunter when he was up there with a runner in 3rd and 1 out in the 8th inning. And he struck out.
Why didn't we squeeze?
Right.
Yeah.
Hunter with an RBI double and 2 trips. There's ball 1.
The interesting thing about this game is that the way it is played at some of the lower levels is completely different than the way it's played at this level. And that's sometimes there's a little bit of a gap in the understanding.
There's such things called track records and, what he does for your club. And
the other one I always get, I don't mean to pick on whoever made that call or fans that you hear. I hear it a lot. People going, why don't we squeeze more? Why don't they squeeze? Well, there's a reason why it's called a suicide squeeze. You're giving up an out. Even if you execute the play perfectly, you're giving up an out. And if it blows up on you, you've given up a chance to score a run from 3rd base. And, we don't have to look any further back than to last night's game earlier when the Marlins put a squeeze play on and bunted into a double play and maybe ran themselves out of a big inning.
And then that situation came up again, and Craig was standing next to me, and he said, do you think they're going to try and squeeze again? I said, absolutely not. But right, it's you can say, why don't we squeeze more, but it's just not that easy.
Got to have the right personnel in place. The whole idea behind it is there's an element of surprise. So if you start doing it a lot, that kind of goes by the boards.
It's probably happened recently, but nothing comes to mind with a number 3 hitter in a major league lineup with an important run at 3rd base and 1 out, putting down a bunt. Maybe a bunt for hit, but not a squeeze bunt.
No, I don't think it comes up very often, Browning. Maybe in the World Series, something like that, where you're just gasping for runs. But you're going to let Hunter hit there 100% of the time. You know what? There's times he's going to strike out on a 3-2 slider.
He takes, and it's 3-1.
And it's just, there's a ton of adrenaline there. We're down by a run. It's the 8th inning. I mean, it's just, things kind of escalate in those situations. If there's probably nobody on, maybe he doesn't swing at that. I know I've swung at a slider in the dirt. I know every fan out there is like, yeah, I've seen you do that a few times. But, those things happen every once in a while.
Well, he had a good at-bat going. He fouled off
did.
Tough breaking balls. 3-2 now.
I'll tell you something, hitting a baseball is not that easy.
I found it very easy.
Yeah, I know. I watched that for a while. I was very lucky at the beginning of my career. I got a chance to watch the Karoo.
You were really lucky if you were in the first base dugout.
No, I was no problem where I was. Look at that.
A hit off the glove of the diving first baseman Sanchez. Michael Bourne coming to the plate. And the throw not in time. It's 4-1 on the RBI single by Hunter Pence. Hit it sharply to right field. Second RBI of the game for Hunter. Infield hit, walk, RBI single. A big inning could be underway.
Really good piece of hitting right there. Fastball, I believe, on the outside part of the plate, and just stayed with it. Didn't try and do too much with it. Just shot it through that hole right there.
Fortunately, that bat didn't come into play as Michael came around to score that run. Randy St. Clair is the pitching coach in the Marlins. He was out earlier, now having a chat with his veteran right-hander. There was action in the Marlin bullpen.
They've had a good bullpen. We saw Brian Sanchez warming up earlier. Their bullpen's had a lot of innings in the early stages of the season. And they stayed with Ricky Nolasco last night for 8 innings.
Yeah, that's probably something to do with that. I was kind of surprised to see him out there in the 8th. But that's going to bode well for Ricky Nolasco in his next start, feeling that the manager has some confidence in him.
Sure. Carlos Lee 0 for 2. 2 on, nobody out for Carlos. Brett Wallace on deck. Out into right center field. Coghlan turning, and Sanchez is tagging. He'll go to third on out number 1. Hunter holding on at first base. Back to Hunter's hit to right field, Baggy. He's the type of guy who has hit for a high batting average. He's driven in 91 runs in a season. There are players who can hit for high average, score runs, drive in runs, do it all. There are some guys who maybe more run scorers than run producers. How do you see him? What mold does he fit into?
I'm not sure right yet. Obviously he can run, so he can score some runs. His on-base percentage is not going to be as high as some, just because he doesn't walk as much. The only thing with Hunter's just got to probably work a little bit more on his pitch selection, and then he will get on base and he'll hit even for a higher, because he gets a lot of infield hits because of his legs.
Brett Wallace rolls to second. There's the force from Infante, and a relay from Murphy. Double play. That's a big call, because a run would have scored on a safe call at first, but the Astros settle for 1 run on 2 hits and leave a man, and it's 4-1. To first on the call by Jim Joyce, it was out, but you'll see on the replay that this was a missed call at first base, and it cost the Astros a run. They still lead it 4-1, but there's a look at the freeze. Wall is stepping on the bag, and the ball has not yet arrived in Gabby Sanchez's mitt.
Yeah, it looked like he beat it. It was a heck of a turn.
It was.
By Murphy, but.
Let me tell you how fast you run down to first base when you've got a man on third base in less than 2 outs, and they might turn a double play. You can't get an RBI.
So that's the best time you're going to get all
That's
year.
the best time you're getting.
That clock. Gene Coleman's got a little stopwatch in the dugout. That
kind of look at it twice.
Yeah.
Why do you run?
And Fonte's 0 for 2. Little tap. Sanchez coming in. 1 out. Well, the leadoff man 0 for 3. The number 2 man 0 for 3. Neither has reached base against Bud Norris.
It's a big inning for Bud right here, don't you think, JD?
Well, you know, the thing about Bud, when you look at his line tonight, he had that potentially ugly second inning, got out of it, and how many times you see it, a pitcher early in the game? A lot of times it's the first inning, but early in the game, you're still a little wobbly, you haven't locked in, and you catch a break or you make a big pitch and you get out of it, and then you settle in and go from there. And from that point, he's been awfully darn good. I think this and next, and I'm not sure what he's up to. 79 pitches now. So if he could give Millsy this one and the 7th, that would be an outstanding outing.
Sure would. Only one leadoff man has reached, and he scored for the Marlins. That's the only issue, JD. Looking back, he walked Stanton on 4 pitches, leading off the second. Walked Sanchez on 4 pitches. He gave up a single, bases loaded, but that might have been the game turner right there when he struck out Buck and got out of that with only 1 run scored.
You know, a lot of pitching is your starts. How do you start the game? How do you start the inning? You know, leave the dugout ready to make pitches.
Single into right field. Morrison's 2 for 3.
This kid looks like a pretty decent little hitter.
He really does. Converted first baseman. Mike Stanton walked and scored that second inning run. Then he struck out in the 3rd. Second round pick in 07. Panorama, California. Gabby Sanchez, his teammate, says he could hit 40 or 50 home runs. But he says it's hard to ask a young kid to do that early, and he just hopes Stanton can play the whole year, be healthy. He started out injured. Marlins move into a brand new ballpark next year.
You guys see the pictures of that?
Yes.
Wow.
Looks spectacular, doesn't it?
Sure does.
John Buck was talking about the fact that, of course, before he signed the 3-year deal, he had some discussions with the Marlins owner, Jeffrey Loria, about the future of the team. They're going to be expanding their payroll.
Be a big home field advantage. Having a nice stadium, sending everybody down to South Beach.
Well, the present stadium, as you well know, is pretty dreary. There's usually rain in the late afternoon just about every day, certain times of the year. And it's hard for the fans to get into it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, every 2 or 3 innings you got to go back upstairs. You know, it's very hard. I don't blame some of the fans for not doing that. It's much easier for them to watch it on TV. But once they get that retractable roof down there, it should be a heck of a place to watch a baseball game.
There's a strike to make it 1-2 for Bud Norris on Stanton. Stanton went 0 for 9 against the Astros last year.
Not exactly an aggressive lead. I don't think he's a base stealer. That's part of his game plan. Bud's got a really quick move. He's got quick feet.
He does. A little bigger now.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Brett Wallace, a converted third baseman. Does he talk to you about playing first at all, Jeff?
You know, we talked a little bit when he first came over, but you know, I let him and Meach kind of do their thing, and you know, I think he's done very well for us. Seems to make all the plays, does well in bunt plays. He's doing just fine out there. Everybody keeps on saying, well, I see those balls that he was running all the way past second base and all that. I said, well, once you get going in that direction, you might as well just keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not just going to flop. That's why they practice that in spring training, right, JD?
That's right. Get over there.
Yep.
Hit well. Michael Bourne bouncing on Towles Hill all the way up to the top of it. That'll get a runner home to make it 4-2 on the RBI double by Stanton. You got to look at the power of Mike Stanton on that well hit ball.
Yeah, we talked about how strong he is. I watched him take BP. And he was missing balls and hitting him into the Astros bullpen. He didn't really miss this one. This thing was like a big power fade as it got out there. It sliced the other way on Michael. What a swing.
I didn't get that high in the air.
No. No, that's what I noticed in BP. He was hitting balls to the base of that hill. Not on a line, but not real high. Normally you can't hit the ball that far, but getting some air under it.
That's a home run in some other parks. Long, long double.
This is probably the only one that goes out in Detroit. I think everywhere else that thing goes out.
Yes. That was hit number 4, and now it's 4-2. Gabby Sanchez 0-for-1 with a walk. Slipped away from Bud Norris, ball 1. You guys were talking about Bud, how he was sailing along. He retired 8 in a row before the hit by Morris, and now he's facing a little pressure point.
Yeah, this is a big batter for him to kind of settle down after that. Get an out.
1 ball and 1 strike. J.R. Tolles out to the mound. Remember when you came up with the Astros baggy and the Astrodome and how difficult a place that was for hitters? It was kind of dark. People with other teams would come in and talk about how it was hard. What a world of difference with all the light in this ballpark tonight.
It is amazing how well you see the ball in this ballpark. It really is a pleasure to hit in this ballpark. I mean, you got that big green background back there. Nothing's bothering you. And that was the thing in the dome. Players used to come in and they said, I couldn't see the ball until the third game. That's why every road trip I'd come back, I'd hit early, whether I was hitting well or not, just to kind of get my eyes accustomed to the backdrop and the dim vision. So, but here you don't have to worry about anything here. It's just a fabulous stadium. The only ones you don't like really is this when you hit it about 422 and the guy catches it right there at the track.
Up the middle. Bill Hall with a play over to first. Morris swiped at it, but Hall took care of out number 2 with Stanton going to third. Our Brown Hand Center, great hands of the game, will show you Bud Norris at work.
Hovland beat him with the slider first time up. It's a slider to get the buck, I believe. Good low heater. Check swing on Stanton with the slider. There's his dad making the call.
Good tilt on those sliders. Now runner at third, 2 outs, and it's Dobbs. Dobbs 1 for 2. Marlins have a couple of veteran pinch hitters if they need them in Dobbs when he's not starting, and Wes Helms.
These are the difference-making at-bats for a pitcher in these situations here. Man on third, 2 outs. 1 in already. Stop it right there.
Marlins are 0 for 5 with men in scoring position. The Astros 4 for 9. Good try there, and it's 2 balls, no strikes. Is that discouraging when you come in there and make what you think is a good pitch and don't get a call, JD?
Absolutely it is. And especially, and you can see it from JR because JR called for that. You can see that he gave him the whole game fastball in. He said, let's bring it up, let's move it in. Bud made the pitch, they didn't get the call. But JR said, good pitch. You can see him in motion with his mitt. That's exactly what I wanted you to do.
right center field. Michael Bourne all the way back, and that one is in the bullpen for a 2-run homer to tie it 4-4. Dobbs hits #1 of the year, and he is 2 for 3 tonight. Now the Marlins have come back to create a 4-4 game. Well, the 4-1 lead is gone, and John Buck will be coming up next. Well, extremely well hit by Dobbs.
And Dobbs in the lineup tonight because Hanley Ramirez is hurt, so they slide Donnie Murphy over to short. Dobbs gets a start at third base and takes full advantage of his opportunity. Watch the hands turn over there in slow motion on our Foxmo. And the classic lean back. Yeah, I got that one posed.
Lefties just make it look a little bit better. Lefties do, don't they?
They do.
Spend a little extra time on the tee box admiring that one.
Yep.
John Buck cracks one to right, sending Hunter Pence all the way back, and another bid for extra bases, but caught by Pence in front of the wall. Well, the Marlins tie it with 3 runs on 3 hits in the top of the 6th inning. It's 4-4. Astros with some thunder there with a 3-run 6th inning, a 2-run homer from Greg Dobbs going into the Houston bullpen, tying it. Now there is bullpen action for the Astros. Chris Johnson leads it off in the bottom of the 6th inning. CJ 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout looking. Hall and Tolles to follow. Then the pitcher's spot could come up. So Fernando Abad, the lefty's warming up. Bud Norris had 95 pitches for the evening. There's ball 1. New life for Javier Vasquez. And that double play call on Brett Wallace in the last of the 5th inning looming ever larger now. It cost the Astros at least 1 run. Striking pitch makes it a 1-ball-1-strike count. High scoring Texas Rangers were shut out at Baltimore 5-0 by rookie Zach Britton.
That's his second very good start.
To right field, Stanton. 1 out.
It's Rangers' first loss, isn't it, Brian?
Yes, it is. They're 6-1 now. Britton had 16 ground outs, JD.
Wow. CJ gets his load back there, stays back on the ball good and drives it to right. Obviously, he wasn't real happy about it. He ran about 20 steps past first and didn't tag it, but not a bad swing right there. If you can stay back on that back leg and drive that ball to right, you're doing some good things, and good things are going to come. I think he's a little frustrated. He's hit some balls hard and not had much to show for it, but you know, they say it all even out. I'm not so sure that's true, but that's the way you got to approach it.
Strike to Bill Hall, who doubled to right center in the 2nd. He's 1 for 2. CJ's a pretty intense guy, isn't he, Baggy?
Yeah, I think at times to a fault, but he takes every at bat to heart. You know, he gets upset. But so far, what I've watched with CJ, even if he does get upset and throws his helmet or whatever down in the dugout, he'll come out and he'll play some good defense, and that's okay with me. You can be upset. I've seen some of the best hitters in the game, the Moises Alou's and the Jeff Kents. That, they can go 4 for 4 and then make an out their 5th at bat and start slamming helmets and all that. And, he's tough on himself, but he has such a special knack of taking a bad swing and not putting it in play. And that's the key. I tell him all the time. I said that's the key to good hitting. As long as you take a bad swing and don't put it in play, you're not making it out. You get another chance. And he did that a ton last year, and he did it a little bit last night, where he hit that foul ball and kind of got lucky. He didn't get caught. And next thing you know, he takes a pitch and lines it over into left field for a knock and a ribby. So, as you said earlier, we're going to find out a lot about CJ through 500, 600 at bats this year.
He saved a little, JD.
Yeah, well, you mentioned new life now that he's in a tie game, and realizing now that he's got a chance to be a winning pitcher if he can post another 0 in his club to put a couple more runs on the board. He didn't really hit his spot, but he was able to slip that fastball by Bill Hall up above the hands a little bit. So Mo used to snap pretty good, huh?
Not snap pretty good, but if he was 4 for 4 and he made an out, he was mad. And those are the great hitters, because that's what you call not giving it away in at bat.
Right. Joe Inglet on deck. Get your spot due up next. There's strike 1 to J.R. Tolles, who's 0 for 2. Looks like that's going to be it for Bud Norris. Those little guys are absorbed in their own little game. 1-1.
If you're Bud in this situation, you're sitting in that dugout and you're furious with yourself that you let that inning get away, and you felt like you had a real good chance to pick up a W. So while that's going on, you're also cheering like crazy that JR jerks one out of here. Get me back on the right side of the score.
Well, and you also don't know, and I can't see down there, obviously, is if JR does make an out, he might go back out there. So he's either all those things you're saying, and he might be saying, go ahead and make an out.
Yeah. Right.
Give me one more chance. But I think he'd take the home run first.
Yeah, that's basically it. Either go deep or make an out. From a selfish perspective,
straight selfish.
Give me the lead or put me in a situation where I get to pitch another inning.
Exactly.
Boy,
Oswalt won today for the Phillies, beating the Braves 10-2.
No, he's not. He's done.
Yeah, you can tell by the body language. The day's over.
Those numbers. Lined into center field, but Bud could be a cheerleader for Joe Inglet now, who will be pinch hitting for him after the 2-out single by Tolles. Five hits, 4 runs, walking 2, fanning 6.
There's JR using the middle of the field. So you were talking earlier, Baggy, about JR and his swing path, how he's a pull hitter, and you're trying to get him, or the goal is to try to get him to use the whole field.
It's called through the baseball, so you're staying through the ball instead of around the baseball.
So it's not a mechanical change necessarily in the swing. It's just keeping that front side in front a little bit better.
Yeah. Always try and stay through the baseball instead of around the baseball. Around the baseball, you start getting that side spin. The same in golf. A hook it's around. It's around the baseball.
Getting the head out front.
Backspin is going to be behind it.
Inglet pinch hitting. Hits one to left center field. Morrison over, and it's no runs a hit. And after 6, 4-4.
In to pitch, but it's also time for the AT&T Trivia Challenge. You know, in baseball history, there have been a lot of brother combinations. I just want to know, what is the leading brother combination for most hits in a major league career? That's the question. There were 5 Delahanties, there were 3 DiMaggios, there were 3 Alous, and there are a lot of twosomes. Which combination has the most hits?
You've given us a lot of food for thought. Fernando Abad comes in. The game tied 4-4. He'll get the 7th inning with an 0-1 record and a 2.57 ERA in his career at Minute Maid Park.
Picked up his first major league win in Cincinnati the other day. Deal with Murphy, pinch hitter Helms, and then the top of the order. About a left-hander, the only left-hander in the Astros bullpen, but Brad Mills does not see him as a quote-unquote lefty specialist. He's got a good changeup, so he should be pretty good against right-handed hitters as well. When you only have one lefty out there, you can't afford to use him strictly as a lefty specialist for a hitter or two. You got to ask a little bit more out of him.
Wes Helms will be hitting next. There's strike 1 to Murphy, who's 0 for 2 with the RBI.
How about the Rose brothers, Greg? Pete and Charlie Rose.
Pete and Charlie Rose? Fly ball to Michael Bourne. That's out number 1 for Abad, but Norris, as you saw from the earlier numbers, with 6 innings of work. And now it'll be Wes Helms pinch hitting for Vasquez, who also checks out after 6 innings of work. And he allowed 8 hits and 4 runs. He walked 2 and fanned 4. Now Helms, one of the veteran pinch hitters around the major leagues, at a .250 for this season, 2 for 8. Is 0 for 4 pinch hitting. One of the veteran leaders on this Marlins club.
How old is Wes?
Been around a while, hadn't he?
Yeah,
I think he had about 6 or 7 years in when I came in.
It seems that way, doesn't it? Wes is 34. He'll be 35 next month.
Seems like he has been around for a while.
He rips that one and over Chris Johnson into the left field corner. Helms heads for second base and has a pinch double.
That's why he's been around for a while.
You bet.
Left-handed pitching. Specialty.
That is such a difficult job. Come off the bench and do what he just did.
I truly, you know, that's the best thing that ever happened to me in my career is I got a chance to see what pinch hitting was all about. As an everyday player, you just don't have an appreciation until you actually become a pinch hitter. The panic that's involved in trying to figure out when you're going to hit, who you're going to hit against, and you only got one at bat to do something. So it's a tough job. It's a thankless job unless you're a manager. Then you can understand that.
Coughlin's 0 for 3 with 3 punch outs. Looking at ball 1.
He is just praying to put the ball in play right now. He's got 3 punch outs.
He doesn't care that there's a lefty out there. He's just glad the guy that punched him out 3 times is gone. And somebody else will whirl. That was that A.B. Bill Hall had in Cincinnati the other day. He had struck out 3 times in a row. His next at bat is against Aroldis Chapman. The kid throwing 103 miles an hour.
He was 0-2, wasn't he?
He went 0-2.
Yeah.
He got a knock.
Coughlin's 1 for 12 against left-handed pitching this year. Takes ball 2. It's 2-1. Abad worked an inning and a third in Cincinnati when he got that first major league win on Thursday. Came in with a game tied 2-2. Well, thinking back to the years when you pitched, JD, Juan Augusto vultured some wins as the lefty out of the bullpen. A few of those years, didn't he?
Yeah, Johnny August. I think he 10-0 one year, 10-2.
Yeah, he had a big victory season one of those years. Tight. The appeal went to third. Check swing call by Jim Wolf.
Yeah, he just had good karma that year because I remember he was cleaning up in the card games in the airplane too. It's just a good year all the way around for him. Fortune wins and winning big pots.
Sometimes it's just your year. Bruce Chen and the Royals beat the Tigers 3-1. Near the left field line, headed for the corner. Carlos Lee watches it slice away from him. It's a fair ball into that corner. And the Marlins have a 5-4 lead on the opposite field RBI double by Coghlan. That's the 5th double for Coghlan, who was tied for the league lead coming into this game.
The Astros that had all the doubles earlier, and Coghlan with that stroke looks like the kind of guy that would hang in there well against left-handed pitching. The numbers weren't good, but in just a handful of at-bats so far this year.
It's a good swing.
Yeah. Real quiet lower body.
Didn't he win the Rookie of the Year a couple years ago?
Yes, he did.
He got hurt last year.
Yes, he did. Got hurt last year. Omar Infante has been a nice acquisition. The Marlins folks really like his defensive play. He's a smart player. He's 0 for 3 in this game. Second baseman who got an out covering third when it was uncovered a few days ago, and his teammates were impressed with his presence of mind to do that in that situation. You know, you talk about concentration when you're a baseball player, Baggy. I'm sure along about July and August, you would just be mentally exhausted after a game, even though you might have gone 0 for 4 or something. Just the process of concentrating on it.
Well, there's no doubt, and it should be like that. You should be tired after a baseball game of trying to think about all the things that you're supposed to do. And that can be outfielders who have to go back up different spots. Infielders for covering different bases, all kinds of things. It should be you got 3 hours, and there is a lot of downtime, but the time that you have to put in, you should be concentrating on figuring out what I can do to make this make myself a better player, and more importantly, our team.
Green lining on 3-0. He rips it foul.
I'll tell you, when I was the most mentally tired I was after playoff games. Playoff games they're just draining.
So much on the line, so much importance on every single pitch.
Especially when you hit about 180 for your first 3 outings in the playoffs. It was a lot of fun.
Well, those Hall of Fame pitchers you were facing will do that to a lot of guys. Michael Bourne back in left center field with a long run. Can't get this one. It's off the wall on one bounce. That'll make it 6-4 on another RBI double. Infante drives in his third of the season. 3 straight doubles.
Natives getting restless here at Minute Maid Park after a game got away late last night. Some bullpen issues. The opener, the Astros lost that one late in the game. Frustrating for the fans, but doubly frustrating for the guys down there in uniform. This one catches just a little too much of the plate. Fernando, not a real hard thrower. He's got to be a little bit more precise with his location.
Yeah, don't think for a second that the players aren't down there feeling everybody's pain. It's they're busting it, trying to do the best they can, and it's tough. When you're in a tough situation like how we started off, it's like I said earlier, it's kind of like, how can we lose this game instead of how can we win this game, and it'll turn around.
Logan Morrison's 2 for 3. 8 hits for both clubs now. No errors in the game. 6-4 Marlins. They trailed 4-1 when they came up in the 6th, and they got 3 to tie it. Now they're building on that. And they've had 4 doubles in the 6th and 7th. Also a homer and a single. 2-0. Reds lead the Diamondbacks 2-0 after 4. Bronson Arroyo on the mound. Reds club looks very good. Young athletic team, good solid pitching. reserves at AAA. Three balls, no strikes. A lot of folks thought Milwaukee would be ready to win this division this year, but the Zach Greinke injury and Sean Markham had his problems in spring training. That created some thoughts the other way. Baggy, what do you think about the division?
Well, you know, I don't think anybody stands out head over toes over somebody. I don't see that.
Red Wallace comes in. His way to Bill Hall.
Yeah, we had a big inning of action, so we really didn't have much time to spend with it. But the answer of the question, who was the leading brother combination with most hits in the major league?
Oh, of course.
The Wainers, 5,611. Only 2 of those. There were 5 Delahanties, and one of them hit 346 with 2,597 hits. But they are 4th. The other 4 weren't very good.
The rest of those Delahanties weren't worth a lick. The Wainers, little poison and big poison, they could swing it.
They could. The Alous, the DiMaggios, and the Delahanties in order after the Wainers.
Wilton Lopez in the all-out sprint. Florida leads at 6-4. Back in a moment. Upper hand after trailing 4-1, and with a runner at second and 2 outs, pitching change brings in Wilton Lopez. He got a blown save and a loss in last night's game. He's facing Mike Stanton. Wilton just didn't have a lot of movement last night, JD. When he came in, everything was pretty straight, and that's unusual for him.
Yeah, it looked like his stuff just didn't seem real crisp. The slider was just kind of gliding. It wasn't a good bite on his sinker. It was kind of drifting.
It's 2-0.
He did what he always does. He was aggressive and attacked, but the stuff wasn't quite as sharp, and he paid the price. Allowed 4 hits and 2 runs.
Came in with a 2-1 lead and absorbed the loss. Foul ball makes it 2-1. Wilton has that reputation of throwing first pitch strikes. Marlins were ready to jump last night.
He had a very nice year last year and maybe snuck up on some people, but now that he's been around the league a little bit, hitters got a better idea of what he's trying to do, so he's going to have to make some adjustments.
He gets a swing there.
That's some good movement on that one.
Yes, he did.
His 2 seamers just tremendous. If he can, refine his changeup, I mean, that's just going to be so dominant, especially against right-handed hitters. Even lefties. I mean, command that inside part to the righties and outside part to the righties. Excuse me, lefties. He's still going to be effective.
Foul back. Lopez, one of the low-cost acquisitions for Ed Wade. He was obtained on waivers and rewarded Ed with 5 walks and 50 strikeouts last year in 67 innings.
Working for the 4th time here tonight. come in.
Got movement there, and he got a strikeout on Stanton. The Marlins, with 2 runs on 3 hits, make all 3 of their hits doubles in the inning to grab a lead, 6-4. Fly ball to right, and Hunter Pence goes back and along the wall, reaching up to make the catch. That was hit by John Buck in the 6th inning. The game was tied 4-4 at that point. Now it is 6-4. Marlins, they go with their lefty, one of the 2 southpaws in the bullpen for them. Randy Choate, normally he's a 1 or 2 batter left-hander. Javier Vasquez now in a position to be the winning pitcher as Choate takes over.
Choate, a veteran, 35 years of age. Pitched collegiately at Florida State. It's about 9 or 10 years of big league service under his belt. Very busy last year. But usually, as Brownie mentioned, a batter at a time. 85 appearances last year, but just 44 2/3 innings of work with Tampa Bay.
Wow.
How about that? So
that's a specialist. Michael Bourne missing, and it's strike 1. He's thinking about bunting his way aboard.
So you got to believe that this is probably the only guy he's going to face.
Yeah, they have Ryan Webb in the bullpen now, a right-hander. That's the way it would appear. Michael's on a 4-game hitting streak thanks to his 5th inning single. Strike there. Now trying to become a table setter with Sanchez on deck and Pence to follow. Webb warming up there.
Rodriguez playing the percentage game, realizing that if Bourne gets on, that would bring the tying run to the plate. So he wants to take every advantage at his disposal, so he brings his lefty specialist out of the pen. And he's got another lefty out there, Mike Dunn, who came over from Atlanta. So that's the value of having 2. He can use Choate here and have Dunn in reserve if he needs him for a future at bat.
Spoken of a true lefty.
You just cannot have too many.
Exactly.
It's a right-hander.
Take care of the union.
Yeah. Mario Del Rosario warming up for Houston. Each club with 8 hits, no errors. It's a tough arm angle for a left-handed batter, but Michael takes a look at that one for ball 2.
Well, you don't see it as much from the left side as you do from the right side. You see more sidearm right-handed guys than you probably do lefties. Although we tried that with Wesley Wright this spring training to get him to get some more movement.
Choate is a native of San Antonio, who went to Churchill High School there, Florida State, as JD mentioned. Now it's 3-2.
Call a pitch here, JD.
Well, he's so funky. I don't know. It's whatever he feels most comfortable that he could throw a strike with. Fastball away.
Bourne flicks it foul. 6-4 Marlins. Glad you're with us tonight. Bill Brown, Jim DeShays, Jeff Bagwell on a Saturday night from Minute Maid Park. Houston has led 4-1. Now it's Florida's game, 6-4 in the 7th inning. Having a good time. We've had some wonderful food tonight. Now there's only one missing ingredient, and that was your specialty last year, the winning ingredient on TV.
W. Yeah, I got to get a W, otherwise they're going to offer me the job as the mascot.
Junction Jeff.
Junction Jeff. Just stick my head in the middle of those oranges up there.
Randy Choate. There you go.
Yeah, my head goes right in the middle of that thing.
Choate was drafted by the Yankees back in '97. He was traded to Montreal after the '03 season for Javier Vasquez. Bounce to first base, Gabby Sanchez. One out. Now we'll see John Buck's going out. Yep, it's a one-batter appearance for Choate.
Take a shower.
Good work if you can get it.
Yeah.
So Edwin Rodriguez will call on the right-hander. String of right-handed batters coming up, 3 in a row for the Astros. We'll be right back with the score, 6-4 Florida. Game summary, Hunter Pence driving a ball for an RBI double in the first inning after Angel Sanchez had doubled. It was 1-0 Houston. And Bud Norris powered a double to left field. The Astros put together a couple of more runs. And then we have a home run to the bullpen, a 2-run shot by Greg Dobbs in the 6th inning. It was tied 4-4. Coughlin, RBI double to left, sending Florida in front 5-4. And then Infante followed with a double. It is now 6-4 Florida. The Astros with one out here in the home 7th inning. Have Angel Sanchez and Hunter Pence ready to face the right-hander Ryan Webb, who's come out of the bullpen at age 24 with those numbers this year. JD.
That big right-hander stands about 6'6", 220. He's worked 4 times already, but just 3 2/3 innings. So you can pretty much disregard that ERA this early in the year. Doesn't tell much of a story. Part of that very good San Diego bullpen last year for the Padres, he worked 54 times and had an ERA of 2.90. As Rodriguez counting on him to be one of his primary setup guys this year.
Cute little guy wearing his gear tonight. Yeah, it's Sanchez.
A little young for an iPhone.
Yeah, I don't know.
He could probably teach us a few things. Sanchez 2 for 2 with a walk. That's an RBI tonight. Webb drafted by Oakland in 04. And he gets some sink on that one, but misses ball 1. Power sinker at 94. Ryan was born in Clearwater, Florida. First came to the Padres in 09. Traded for Cameron Maben. 2-0.
That's a power sinker for sure.
Yeah. Like his namesake, Brandon Webb.
Yeah.
How's he doing anyways? He made it all the way back yet?
Slowly coming back for the Rangers. They thought he might be there by now, but he's not close.
He had the proverbial setback.
Yeah.
I've heard that a few times about different guys over the years coming back from surgery.
I can attest to that.
Yeah. To right field, Stanton waiting. 2 outs.
Follow the Astros with the MLB.com @BAT11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Get live audio, pitch-by-pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. You can text @BAT to 31826 or visit Astros.com for details.
You guys got to have all the latest apps on his.
You have to. Yeah. Mom, I just spent another $20 on your iPhone account.
2 outs, and it's Hunter Pence who's driven in a pair tonight, going 2 for 3. This one rolls out to second. Infante over to Sanchez to end the 7th inning with a score 6-4 Marlins. Storming back with 3 in the 6th inning and adding 2 more in the 7th inning with a flurry of extra base hits, a total of 5 in those 2 innings. Now the Astros call on pitcher number 4, Anario Del Rosario, comes out of the bullpen. Rosa Lopez struck out the only man he faced, Mike Stanton. And there you see the numbers in the first 3 appearances for Del Rosario.
Yeah, not much of a story so far. 2 2/3 innings of work for Anario. Guy we saw a little bit, very little bit of last year after the Astros picked him up from the Reds. He had a little big league time with Cincinnati before coming over to Houston, where he really opened a lot of eyes was in spring training. Outstanding spring training, and hopefully he can get on a similar role here as he was on in Kissimmee. Good sinker. That's his best weapon.
Gabby Sanchez leads it off. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. 25,421 to paid attendance tonight at Minute Maid Park. Last night a sellout. 11 of the 12 home openers here at Minute Maid Park have been sellouts. 41,042 last night. Sanchez first up, Dobbs and Buck to follow. Strike. Fernando Abad in 2/3 of an inning allowed 3 hits, 2 runs with no walks, no strikeouts.
Somewhere Patty Smith is cheering.
That's foul right back here to our right, and it's no balls, 2 strikes as former President Bush makes his way out.
Couldn't be a nicer man.
Oh, what a terrific favorite here. Enjoyed the interview Patty did with him last night. That was yanked foul.
Oh.
Those guys, boy, they go everywhere, don't they? It had to have been at the Final Four.
Well, they're getting ready to go to Maine, I'm sure, pretty soon.
Yeah. Go to the golf tournament that comes to town.
Yeah.
Hey, did I tell you guys we held hands?
No, you didn't mention that at all, Patty.
Yeah.
When did that happen? Last night?
Yeah, that happened during God Bless America, just in case nobody knew.
Okay. Well, thanks for the update.
Okay.
Yes.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
You think he pays for any of those tickets that he goes to?
After all the years of service he's put in, he ought to get a free ride anywhere he wants to go. Broken bat roller, charged by Johnson. CJ loses it. Got away from him on the transfer. That's an error. His third.
Del Rosario on the mound. You anticipate ground balls with that sinker. Boy, talk about getting into a hitter's kitchen. I think he was in pretty good shape to make that play and just could not corral it.
There's a good view where the runner was.
I would have given a hit to Biggio. You forgot. I always got to get him at least once on the broadcast.
That's true. We hadn't done that yet.
Yeah. And if they didn't, the phone would have been ringing in the press box, right?
Oh, yeah. Maybe a stare. Sorry, kid.
Ball 1. Good to see Bidge out here last night. Well, that's a great reunion opening day every year to see everybody we haven't seen all winter or for a few months or weeks or whatever the case might be. 2-0 the count.
It is good to see everybody out here.
Fan fest today. A lot of people were out early getting autographs, doing different things around the ballpark. And on Friday, a lot of the players will be fanning out to different area schools on Jackie Robinson Day to visit the school kids. Banged over shortstop into left center field. Extra bases for Dobbs. Sanchez around to third. He's being sent home. Angel Sanchez relay to the plate, cut off, and it's 7-4. RBI double. Dobbs, his third hit of the night. Oh, the injury to Hanley Ramirez. Edwin Rodriguez is lucked into starting Greg Dobbs at third, and he has really delivered tonight.
Yeah, 3 out of 4. Single, ground out, home run, now double. Boy, and the approach from the Marlin hitters has been so good. You know, there's a lot of driving the ball the other way.
That's 9 hits. They've been racking up the doubles here. They've had 6 in the game. That one hit to Chris Johnson's left. Puts the runner back. Throws out John Buck, who's 0 for 4. Donnie Murphy will be next. He's 0 for 3 with an RBI. White Sox beat Tampa Bay 4-2 in Chicago. A.J. Przinsky had a big hit. Got into it a little bit with Felipe Lopez. Phil Humber was the winning pitcher. Lopez didn't like an inside pitch from Chris Sale. Flipped his bat and he hit a home run toward the pitcher apparently.
A.J. got in a beef with somebody?
That's never happened, has it?
No.
There's strike 1. Been known as a fiery competitor over the years. He hasn't always been regarded as friendly by opponents. How did you find him in the World Series, Baggy? Pretty good competitor?
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole different environment. You know,
sure.
When you're in that situation, you're not kind of fired up in that kind of way. But he's been a heck of a catcher and a heck of a hitter.
Yes. Nice career. Scott Cousins on deck. Pinch hit next. Good action there from Del Rosario, getting a strikeout on that pitch down and in. 2 outs. Lefty hitting outfielder Scott Cousins pinch hits for Webb.
Murphy not happy with himself chasing that sinker. He's probably lucky though that he missed it. If he hit it, he's going right down off his shin.
Yeah, there's nowhere for that ball to go.
Would not have ended well for him.
Cousins got into last night's game. Webb in 2/3 of an inning allowed no hits, no runs. This one in the air to left center field, backs up both outfielders. Carlos Lee way back into the well. Good catch there in front of the 362 sign to end it. And in the 8th inning, it's 1 run, 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 man left to run unearned, and the Marlins lead it 7-4. Here's a blast for you tonight. And it went way up. Powerful swing for a 2-run homer by Greg Dobbs into the Astros bullpen. That was tied at 4-4 in the 6th inning. Tonight for Dobbs. 3 hits, 3 runs batted in.
So Bud pointing up there. That's the wishful point that you do as a pitcher when the guy hits one. You point up, yeah, it's fly out. We got that one.
Yeah.
There it is.
Seen that from the Wizard of Oz a few times.
I popped him up. Somebody run under that for me.
Somebody did. It was the peanut vendor out there.
Clay Hensley, a local product, has done well this season in 5 innings, and he's one of the primary setup men now in that Marlins bullpen, JD.
Yeah, he play from Tomball. He was actually with the Astros in spring training last year. Spent some time with the AAA club.
He was coming off surgery, and things didn't go well for him at the beginning of the season, so Astros cut him loose, and then he got the arm strength back. Lights out last year. Strike 1 to Carlos Lee. Last year, 68 games. Scott Cousins stays in the game to play right field. Mike Stanton leaving. And 2.16 ERA last year for Clay Hensley. He says he likes this role of reliever after being a starter earlier in his career, and he thinks it might prolong his career to come in and pitch 1 inning at a time, JD.
Yeah. I think it would. You only got so many bullets to fire, and as long as you're not abused out there in the pen, that's the key. If you run you out there 70, 80 times, and you're getting up a whole bunch in between appearances, there's a chance that could cut your career short. But generally, I think relief work would be a little less taxing than the starter.
That's the big thing I always hear from relievers. Not the inning that you pitch out on the mound. It's the 2 or 3 times that you got to get up during the game.
Yeah,
that's what kills you.
Get you hot, sit you down. Get you hot, sit you down.
Well, Hensley appeared in 3 games in a row prior to coming in here for this series. Smacked over shortstop on a line. Carlos Lee breaks out of the box, heads for second, rattles that bullpen wall, and he's in with a leadoff double. First double of the year for El Caballo. He had 2 triples, but that was his first double.
He made a heck of a catch to end the top half of the inning, and now he starts the bottom half with this solid double to left center.
How many times do you see it?
That's it. Lead off the inning, make the big play, lead off the inning. It's a slider that backed up It was not intended to be a backup slider.
The Astros get a hit from the big left fielder, a two-bagger, and that is their 5th double of the game. Brett Wallace is 0 for 3. Well, somewhere, maybe here tonight, Jim Gilligan has to be an awfully proud guy. The coach at Lamar University, Coach Clay Hensley, and also Brian Sanchez, another of the Marlins relievers. That's ball 1. Hensley had 22 holds last season, setting up the closer. And a good strikeout year a year ago, 77 strikeouts in 75 innings. Bounce into right center field. Carlos Lee around third. Cousins with the throw offline. 7-5. RBI single Wallace. The Astros come back here in the 8th inning, trailing now by 2.
Looking swing there, just stayed up through the middle.
Pretty aggressive send by Dave Clark with nobody out and Carlos running. The throw way up the line, so no chance to make a play.
Well, I mean, the ball was kind of basically hit into right center. I mean, I didn't think there could be even something to go on there.
Mm-hmm. Strike to
Look
Chris
at my
Johnson.
boys. He's gassed. That's what he is. He ran that ball down in the alley, then he had to come up and hit a double, and then score from second.
CJ's over
Johnny.
10 hits for the Astros now. No balls, 2 strikes. Bill Hall on deck. Clay Hensley played some center field in high school at Pearland.
This is kind of what we were talking about earlier in the ballgame. How as a player you have to stay in the moment. CJ 0 for 3 tonight. Made that error, so a lot of things haven't gone well. So he's got a chance to be a hero here, but you can't have that mentality and get out of your game and chase bad balls.
Well, he did that first pitch, but I've seen him do it all last year where he does that. Like I said, he didn't put that ball in play. Hopefully now Clay can make a mistake here in the middle of the plate, and CJ can do what he did all last year.
Bounce foul, third base way. Mets lead the Nationals 6-4, top of the 8th inning. Carlos Beltran has hit a couple of home runs first 2 of the year. Yankees beat the Red Sox 9-4 with 4 homers. 2 by Russell Martin. Clay Buchholz taking the loss. Red Sox Nation really down to start the season.
Pitching just hasn't been there, really.
No, it is not. Swing and a miss, and Johnson's down on strikes. A foul tip, actually, held by John Buck. 1 out. Mike Dunn's warming up, a lefty.
The breaking ball here by Hensley. Curveball. Just gets a piece of him. Buck. Yeah, he got it cleanly.
Strikeout number 5 for Marlins pitchers. Bill Hall is 1 for 3.
All right, Billy.
J.R. Tolles on deck. And Steam strike 1 in.
What he would like to try and swing at that one.
Mm-hmm.
What's your guess? Just looking breaking ball there? You just wanted to see a guy you hadn't seen in a while?
Maybe that's it, yeah.
One and 1 to count. Marlins bullpen has a 2.39 ERA.
Well, that's what happens when you haven't started off the year that well. You know, your thought pattern kind of goes different. Every time you're looking for the slider, you get the fastball. Every time you're looking for the fastball, you get the slider. And you just don't trust your instincts, and you know, that's part of this game. You just got to trust yourself.
Popped up, John Buck over. And he does make a catch right up against that TV camera. Using the chest protector right up against the lens of the camera. 2 outs.
Coming right at you. Toss the helmet away. Good concentration. Better work by Robin on the camera, though. Talking about concentration. I would have been out of there.
Robin Barrow holding firm. Now J.R. Tolles singled in the 6th inning. He's 1 for 3. Jason Michaels comes out to the on-deck circle. Pitcher spot due up next.
Funny how you see John Buck take that mask off. Never saw Ausmus take his mask off ever on a pop-up.
That's true.
So why would I do that? I can catch a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Why can't I catch a pop-up with it on?
Yeah, especially when you got this kind of.
Oh.
He was phenomenal on those pop-ups. He didn't drop many. Ball 1 to JR. You talk to Brad much?
I do, as much as I can. You know, he's a big special assistant now too. So Padres are hitting 200, so he's probably working with the hitters.
1 ball, 1 strike. Is it true that Mark Loretto's his boss?
I don't think it's his boss. But I know there's not a lot of home runs going on. They're teaching hitting. Somewhere between the line and second base is where all their hits are on.
Brewers shut out the Cubs 6-0. Chris Narveson winning.
And that's exactly what Jaron. No, he thought it was up. We were oohing because hey, that's a hanging slider.
Yeah.
He was oohing because he thought it was a ball. And
I thought it might have been up a little bit. If you look at the side view.
Could have been right on both counts.
2-2. Clay Hensley drafted by the Giants in 2002, then was traded to the Padres the next year. Plays 31 now. Jason Michaels hoping for a chance to hit. Line to the second, Sacker Infante. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 left for the Astros. Moving to the 9th at 7-5 Marlins. Sports Houston is brought to you by the Progressive Insurance Group. For a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE today. The Astros had a 4-1 lead, and then 3 runs in the 6th inning came the Marlins' way to tie it. They added on with 2 more in the 7th, pushed another run across, an unearned tally in the 8th. Now it is 7-5 as they come up in the 9th inning, and Ariel Del Rosario stays in the game. And he will be facing the top of the order here in this 7-5 ball game. It's Coughlin to lead it off. Coughlin had an RBI double in the 7th after striking out the first 3 times. Rockies lead the Pirates 6-4 at the end of 8 in Pittsburgh. And some excitement in Pittsburgh with some last at bat wins this season. There's strike 1. Pirates are 5-3.
You asked me that question about the Central.
Yeah. We got interrupted. So what do you think about the division?
Well, I think what really hurt the division, the Cardinals is really when Wainwright got hurt, that was just such a big blow to their pitching staff. I think that kind of brings them back a little bit. And obviously Greinke, that hurts them too. So I just don't think the division is just, oh my God. I don't think the division's that strong right now. So, it could be there for the taking from anybody. I mean, obviously Cincinnati's looks good. I mean, they're defending champs and all that, but you guys saw them play in person, so
they looked really good.
Did they? They play pretty good defense too, don't they?
Yeah, and that's a big part of it too. They run well. They just do a lot of phases of the game really well.
I guess the only reason I don't ever, and I know they won last year, and I give all the credit in the world and Dusty, and obviously Joey Votto in his year, but it's such a small ballpark during the summer. It's just got to be hard to pitch in that thing.
True.
That being said, it has to be hard for the other team to pitch there too.
Yeah.
Well, Greinke threw a bullpen today, so he's working his way back. That's the team that I'm still very intrigued by. I think they're going to score a ton of runs, and Greinke and Markham, I think, with Gallardo gives them a real nice looking rotation.
He pitched a hell of a game the other day.
Yeah, he's really good.
And he can hit.
Well, Rosario gets out number 1. Omar Infante due up next. And the Reds have one starting pitcher in the rotation right now, older than 27.
I heard that.
There's all that PFP in spring training paying off.
There it is.
Pitchers fielding practice. Go down.
Use 2 hands.
Step and throw.
What is the work that you like the least in spring training?
Bunt plays.
Bunt plays. Okay.
We put 3 of them on, and we only put 1 on the entire year.
Yeah, you always work on all kinds of pickoffs and bunt
this and all that. No, just be 1 play.
Looped into left center field. Carlos Lee over to play it. He spins around, throws into second. He's got a play there, and the throw to Bill Hall. Got him. Infante gunned down.
Carlos.
Single and a 7-4 play for out number 2.
Carlos playing some D tonight.
Yes, he is. Third outfield assist for the Astros. The first 2 came, ironically, on fly balls that were dropped, and then there was a force out. It's been a weird season for outfield assists so far. That throw right on the money.
Look at the big fella out there. He's tired. He's got his hands on his knees.
That's a great shot of Infante. His eyes getting wide as he sees the throw coming in.
Yeah. Foul ball here. Hit by Morrison. Morrison's 2 for 4. That was well done by Carlos with the spin move and the accurate throw.
That's really tags him.
Yeah, he might have been safe.
Looked like he was safe.
We'll take it.
When you're spinning around like that and your eyes are moving, you're trying to pick up your target. That's not the easiest throw in the world, Baggy.
It's not, but when you do it for so long, you kind of get a feel of where everything is. And, that throw for him, he's done that a bunch of times. So, yes, it's hard, but he's used to it.
Second base hasn't moved. Good play by Sanchez, and it's no runs ahead. Bottom of the ninth coming, 7-5. Florida. Astros trail 7-5, and the Marlins are bringing in their closer, Leo Nunez. Nunez came in last night for an inning, giving up 2 hits and a run, and he picked up his second save. He's 2 for 2 in saves, and he likes the fact that he's reunited with John Buck from their Kansas City days. The Astros will go with Jason Bourgeois to lead it off, pinch hitting for Del Rosario, who in 2 innings allowed 2 hits, 1 run, no earned runs. He had no walks and struck out 1.
And the Astros scoring a run in the bottom half of the 8th to get 1 closer, making their job a little bit easier against Nunez, but still a really big hill to climb here. Down 2 runs with 3 outs to play with.
Inside, ball 1. Nunez last night gave up a leadoff homer to Brett Wallace in the 9th inning.
Let's get Wally up here again and try it.
Jason Bourgeois went in to pinch run for J.R. Tolles and was thrown out trying to steal on a pitch out for the final out of the game last night.
Down a couple of runs. Usually the battle cry in the dugout is, hey, a bloop and a blast.
That's exactly right.
But the Astros are 3 or 4 spots away from the blasters in their lineup, so they're going to need a little traffic here.
Well, they'd love to have their first pinch hit of this season. They are 0 for 10 in that department. Bourgeois 0 for 1. Just to get things started. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Nunez, when he first came into the game last night, was a little spotty with his command. And then after a couple hitters settled in, was able to throw that fastball over the outside edge pretty well. Got up to 95 on the gun.
Up the middle. Slowed down. And he makes it on an infield hit. Nunez slowed it down, and Murphy was unable to make the play on the speedy Bourgeois. Pinch single for Jason.
Don't get me wrong, Michael can catch one inside every once in a while.
Looking the same thing.
The old behind the back, slow the ball down for the shortstop play.
Almost on SportsCenter.
Yeah, if he caught that one, I would have just turned off my computer, packed my book, and headed for the car.
Yeah, one of those nights. Now Michael Bourne. But Dobbs in very close. Strike to Bourne with Sanchez on deck. Double play set up for Murphy and Infante. There you see the infielders. Coughlin well over to left center.
Awfully tough duo to double up, Bourgeois and Bourne.
Yes.
So obviously if they get a sharply hit ground ball, they'd love to turn 2, but I'm thinking if you're Edwin Rodriguez over there in the Marlins dugout, you're thinking, hey, just make sure we get an out. Don't try to get too fancy.
Strike to Bourne. It's 1-2. Nunez had 30 saves last season in 38 tries. Throw goes over on Bourgeois. Nunez was with Kansas City from 05 through 08. And traded to Florida in the Mike Jacobs deal after the 08 season. Now he gets a strikeout on Bourne. 1 out.
Change up.
Yeah, nice soft on him after those fastballs. It's kind of funny because the way Michael reacted to a couple of those fastballs, I thought maybe he was looking for something off speed, and then ultimately Nunez does get him with a good changeup.
Strikeout number 6 for Marlins pitchers tonight. It's Angel Sanchez next. 2 for 3, an RBI and a walk. Strike 1. No balls, 2 strikes. Hunter Pence on deck. If Sanchez can come up with one of his specialties, get a hit to the right of second base. Getting Bourgeois to third. That would be a good setup for Hunter Pence.
Really important here that Jason get a nice jump off of first base so he can upend a middle infielder on a potential double play. Just, got to get Hunter up there with a man on. Double play ends the ball game.
Roller to short.
Get him. Get him.
Feet is second, and then it gets away. They get the out call at second, then Infante lost control of it. 2 outs on the 6-4 play.
You got any other things that you can tell me that I might be able to go bet on?
We talk a lot about speed and how it manifests itself in a game, whether, stolen bases first to third. This is one of those plays you don't talk a lot about, but, that's why it's always nice to have speed. You put a little pressure on the middle infielder, a double play that might otherwise get turned does not, and now we've got our potential blaster up there.
What's funny about that play, he never had that ball in his hand.
No.
Never.
They do get a pass out there.
Yes, they do.
Hunter Pence 2 for 4, 2 runs batted in. Jeez, crack bat. That one got in his kitchen.
Hit that pretty far with his thumbs.
Sure did. Trying to be quick.
Just basically
rolled off his finger.
Trying to deflect the ball from the glove into the hand. And that kind of speaks to what I was talking about earlier, too. If that call goes against him, that's huge.
One caller went against the Astros back in the 5th inning. Gave the Marlins a double play to end that frame.
Well, you talk about it all the time. When you're going good, he's safe. And you're not going good, that's what happens. So a 2-run homer right here can fix a little bit of everything.
Carlos Lee on deck. John Buck comes up with it, firing to first. 1-1.
Last year, Nunez, in 65 innings of work, allowed 5 home runs. The year before, 68 2/3 innings, 13 home runs. A power pitcher that works up in the zone, fly ball. There's a lot of outs with the fly ball, so got a shot here.
The roller goes foul. Now 1-2.
Have to elevate that one.
He threw a lot of changeups last night.
Couple.
Seems like a pretty good pitch.
That is a good pitch for him. Hunter's 0 for 3 against Nunez in his career. Infante over to Sanchez, and the Marlins have come from behind with some very good late offense. 3 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th inning. Final score 7-5. Florida beats Houston to capture the 2nd straight in this 3-game series.